that's not something that really I anticipated being able to do in my life. I mean, I've always wanted to travel. I've always had big eyes. You know, I want to see things. I like to meet people from different parts of the planet. You know, from anywhere. I like to see what people's lives are like elsewhere from here. You know, there's not a whole lot going on here. So just being able to travel and experience different places and people has been really fantastic. And so just being able, you know, it's something that I miss being able to do. I haven't left in a couple years now.
That's it.
Been really
so. Of course, you've got your upcoming album, Forgotten Days, which will be released on the 23rd of this month with Nuclear Blast. So, how will this album differ from your previous albums? Like, what can we expect? Which will be released on the 23rd.
You know, we try to make each album kind of distinct from each of the other albums, but I think there's kind of an aesthetic, pallbearer like aesthetic that remains no matter what. Because I think we have kind of this intuitional knowledge of what feels like a pallbearer song, and so you know, I think if anything, this album, after we finished recording it, I had this thought that it feels like when I listen back to it, it's like it feels like this album has like bits and pieces of everything we've done in it, like, but it doesn't sound specifically like any of our other stuff, which I thought was interesting. In the same way that like Heartless to me, our last album felt like kind of a big leap into a kind of like a different direction while still using the tools of our sonic toolbox, I guess. But this feels less like a leap into another different direction, but just more so like taking aspects of all of our material and like fusing it into this like Voltron of of like heavy metal, I guess. But there's also some new stuff that we've never done before on this album. So I'm excited just by, you know, by how much there is going on it. There's just like really each song is really distinct from one another, I think. But it all feels like a cohesive album in my opinion, which is always our goal. The albums should be able to, I think, are intended to be listened to in one go as like almost like a continuous piece of music.
So unfortunately, we can't ignore the current situations happening with coronavirus, which has affected many artists, much like yourselves. But you've started a Patreon community.
Mm-hmm.
So for those that haven't heard about it, can you explain what it is and how they can get involved?
Yes, it is basically a service where you sign up for. There's 3 different tiers. It's basically like in the same way you'd sign up for like Hulu or something, and there's like different tiers, but you get like more content the higher you go. Like the highest tier will get all the content that the first tier gets up. But basically, what we're doing is just trying to find a different way to interact with people since we can't play shows, and also hopefully to supplement our, be able to pay our management and stuff like that through, since we can't play shows, we're not making any money. So basically, like, we started it to both interact with the audience, keep ourselves busy by trying new things, and you know, hopefully make a little bit of money if we can get enough people on there. But it's been pretty interesting so far. We have you know, we've been doing essentially what amounts to like a podcast where we get on, we call it Epicus Zoomicus Metallicus, where we get together and talk about various things. And we had Nate from Spirit Adrift as a guest on our last one. We're getting some of our just our buddies and like people who've worked with us over time on there, and we do like lessons on how to play our songs. We're like working our way through Sorrow and Extinction right now. So yeah, just in different stuff. We have some like reduxes of some of our material, like reimaginings. We have like a all synth version of like Given to the Grave on there. So it's just kind of an interesting place for us to kind of experiment and interact with people, and if people feel like it's worth their hard earned doubloons, then we certainly appreciate it because it helps us keep functioning as a as a band since we can't do anything else right now.
Of course.
But yeah, I don't know if there's a specific link, but if you just go to if you just look up Paul Bearer Patreon, I guess it'll pop up for you. I don't know exactly. Probably just get on the Patreon website and look up Paul Bearer.
Awesome.
But yeah, anybody's interested in it, it'd be pretty cool. And we also have a Discord that's on there. So if you want to just like chat with us at basically any time of day, we're always kind of like in and out of there. It's kind of fun.
I might join that.
Yeah.
So obviously you've got your album release for the end of this month, and gigs are pretty much a no-go for the rest of this year, but what can we expect for you from 2021?
Well, probably not playing any shows, although I'd love to. We've been kind of discussing that ourselves. And since we can't play, it's like, well, let's just like record more. So we're gonna at least do an EP, ship it. Maybe we'll just do another album too. Who knows? Yeah. I mean, it's better than sitting around for another year doing nothing.
That's it, definitely. So hopefully new music for next year.
Yeah, possibly. I mean, quite likely.
Awesome. Well, it's been a pleasure chatting with you, Brett. Thank you very much for your time, and thank you for taking part in MMH's Scarefest too.
Great, thank you.
Yeah. Child, when you think turning away from time, the blood that runs away from here, unknown to the world left behind. These thoughts are wrong. I can feel fragmented shards of a god.
Today at MMH Radio, we're speaking to Anders or Nedo from Cadaver, who's also played with Celtic Frost, Satyricon, Magenta. But the big news at the moment is the new Cadaver album, Edda and Bile, which is coming out next month. First album since 2004, and you can listen to More Gritchel, the single, which has a really cool music video. But you probably shouldn't show your children that. But after 15 years of inactivity, why did you decide to continue Cadaver now after so much time?
Well, thank you for having me on, first of all. Well, the thing is, I've been busy, like you said in the introduction, with other bands. But I always felt that Cadaver's chapter was unfulfilled somehow. You know, whenever I write metal music, it's always in that style. And in 2012, around there, I had a bunch of demos lying around that I didn't know what to do with, and I started to send them out to different singers, and start to explore a little bit how to do something with this. Then in 2014, I met Dirk Verburen, the drummer. He was sitting in for Frost with Satyricon during this festival in the Caribbean called 70,000 Tons of Metal. And he told me he was a huge Cadaver fan, and I told him I had some material. So one thing led to the other, and I sent him a bunch of riffs and songs, and he just came back with insane drums, and I was like, this should be a new Cadaver album. So we kind of been working on it ever since 2014.
That's good. Do you find him easy to work with? Do you just understand what each other wants musically?
Yeah, I mean, he's the kind of drummer who's a very musical drummer, so he understands what a song needs to be exciting, and to have twists and turns that make you excited as a listener as well as a player. So he's a perfect match for me.
Oh, that's good to hear. That's cool. Let's talk a bit about the new album. What does the title Edda and Bile mean?
Well, it's not an English word, Edda, as you probably know. Or are you too young to know that this could be an English word? You know the English word adder with an A. It means poisonous snake.
I see.
So it comes from the same word. So it means poison in Old Danish and Norwegian. And it comes from medieval times when they had they believe that illness was imbalance in your body fluids. The too much bile would make you evil and such things. So they would drain you of blood if you were sick and stuff like that. And the expression pouring out Edda and Bile just means pouring out evil or pouring out something really bad inside you. So it comes from an ancient expression, but I think it's a cool swing to it. It's easy to say and it's easy to understand as soon as you get it. So yeah.
I agree. That's really cool. What are some of the lyrical themes on the album? Is this your first time as vocalist as well?
Yeah, it's not my first time as vocalist in that respect. I've been singing on other stuff, but I've also been writing a lot of lyrics always. But the switch to vocals came naturally through the process of trying to figure out who was going to sing. I think most bands' histories are like that. Try to figure out who's going to sing this. I think even Metallica had singers auditioning for them in the beginning. But I mean, having the whole responsibility of singing and the words along with it makes it more personal. I mean, and all my lyrics are kind of based around things I'm into, whether it's in general, to put it in a general term, it's about the human condition, us humans being incapable of not causing harm and envy and detest, and we're hopelessly just imagining things, or driven by our emotions, and all that stuff combined with as the religion and whatnot, and then you have a pool of lyrics to just write out. It's never going to stop. The disappointment in human beings.
Yeah, definitely. Well, back in the early days of Cadaver, was it difficult to be noticed in your own country when there were so many black metal bands around that dominated the scene, or did you get a lot of attention because you were doing something different?
First of all, the original lineup was together from 88 till 93. So at the edge of that, in 93, that's when the black metal thing kind of took over as the scene leading genre. Before that, everybody in those black metal bands were death metal bands. So we were very much a part of the scene, and one of the leading bands in the scene. We were doing shows also outside Norway with Entombed and Dissection, and we knew all these bands. Obviously, also in the UK with Carcass signing the band to their label. So I think we were recognized as different kind of extreme metal band from the early days, basically. And the term death metal was coined to what we were doing on the first album, and it's very much what we do. But I think if you listen to it, it's basically coming from the whole variety of the genre in the late 80s. That's where my original inspiration was from. From everything from Morbid Angel to Carcass and Possessed, or Death, or Celtic Frost, Creator. All these bands meant as much to me as anything else. So we just did our little combo of the whole thing, basically.
Cool. Oh, yeah, you mentioned Possessed and Carcass. Well, we had Jeff Walker guested on the last EP, and then Jeff from Possessed is on the new album. We've got Cam from Massacre as well, I saw. But if you're going to write the next Cadaver album and you could bring back a musician from the dead to guest on that one, who would you choose?
Dead musicians?
Yeah.
Okay, just one or a few?
Yeah, as much as you like.
Yeah, no, I would. Perfect dead guests would be Quarton from Bathory and Chuck from Death.
Of course.
I would say, those two guys on one album, that would be amazing.
That was a pretty good choice.
Yeah.
Well, I guess there's no concerts going on at the moment. But do you intend to get a live lineup together for Cadaver and play some shows when we're back to normal?
Yes, we're actually going to play a show in Oslo the 10th of December. Even if it's Corona times, there's a venue which is normally for 1,200 people that has 200 sitting down capacity. Mm. So we're doing that show. I said yes to it basically also because we need something to happen around the album, something to look forward to. And the guy who was the bass player on our second record and brought the unique sound of the double bass into metal, which has never been done before or since, he's back. So we actually had a rehearsal and meeting today. We did one show actually this summer, like literally outside the house I'm sitting at, just on small stage. So we're active and we're preparing for the apocalypse to end, but that's all bands can do now, is to prepare for whenever we can get out there. But we're also preparing for recording new material, so we're very active at the moment.
Oh, that's good. Yeah, I guess it is funny how with the world coming to a stop, some there's more music happening, just not in front of an audience these days. But that's good news. It's good that you're active. I think that is time for us. But thanks for speaking to me today. I hope the new album goes well.
Thank you very much, and enjoy listening to Edwin Bile, and see you out on the road when the time comes.
Certainly will. Take care.
All right. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Cheers.
And you know, that's all really. I anticipate you'll find a rest. Everybody likes a chance. The rise your dream. Resurrection without limits. No one hears your scream. And you won't hesitate. When I order you to kill.
Hi, I'm Kaz Parker for MMH, the home of rock radio, and here today, joined by Aaron Stainthorpe from My Dying Bride. Hi.
Hello.
Oh, so
How are you?
I'm good, thank you, actually, as it happens, and I am very excited to have you here on Zoom as part of our exclusive partnership with Nuclear Blast, which is for Scarefest for Halloween. So thanks for catching up with me. And as this is all about scary times, how are you finding life at the moment with the big bad virus spoiling all the fun?
It's been okay, to be honest. It hasn't really affected My Dying Bride in a way that it will have affected bands who do a lot of touring. For us, a good year is 12 to 18 shows. And we haven't played live for a couple of years anyway. So really, when lockdown came in March, it was just an extension of us still not playing live.
Yeah.
So, you know, if live gigs come back in 2021, it'll be over 3 years since we last went on stage. So for us, not being able to play live at the moment is not a massive issue. But, you know, you look at some of our fellow colleagues in the business who might do 150, 200 shows a year. They're really feeling it. They are really, really feeling it now. And we feel sorry for those guys because their income has been completely slashed. Same with all the crew and the venues and everything. It's a disaster for those guys. But somehow, for My Dying Bride, being the bone idle people that we are, it's not really affected us in such a massive way. You know, we're managing to just do what we normally do, which is not a lot. So not too bad for us, to be honest.
Yeah, well, you've got to look for the positives, haven't you? And there we go, we found some, so that's good.
There you go, yeah.
So, well, I think you are probably a harder working band than you'll admit to, because I can see that you've released 14 studio albums over the years, as well as live albums, EPs. And as you say yourselves, these have become life events for the low-spirited and downhearted, which in the current world, I feel like is pretty much everybody. So I saw that you released The Ghost of Orion in March this year. It's quite nice timing, actually, because people, you know, fans need music when things like this happen. That's what we look for solace and for everything, really, for everything connected with our emotions and our spirits. So, and also I can see you've got a new EP coming out on November 20th, Macabre Cabaret, which I believe is available for pre-order right now from Nuclear Blast. So
sure is.
There you go, get it there, people. And you've just released the single A Secret Kiss from that EP. So tell us about all that then. Well,
the album took about a year to record, but I was so out of it at the time, I can't remember which year it was when we recorded it. It wasn't even that long ago. But it came out early March, so that was the 23rd or time. So it came out before the lockdown. So people who still go to record shops could still go and buy it. But I think most people buy online anyway. So it won't have affected, lockdown won't have affected sales a great deal, I wouldn't imagine.
No.
We've seen other bands releasing albums as well. So clearly the record labels aren't put off by the fact that there is this lockdown thing, because online is where it's at for the most part, I think.
Yeah.
So The Ghost of Orion, it sneaked under the radar a little bit there. I started doing interviews for the promotion back in January. All the way up till about 3 weeks ago, I was still promoting The Ghost of Orion. You know, it was busy.
Yeah.
Which is great. You know, it's great that people are talking about it still. And it seems to have been warmly accepted, which is always a bonus. Because, you know, sometimes when this is our 30th anniversary year, when you've been around for such a long time, you sometimes wonder, are we still relevant? Or do people just see us just turning out the same thing over and over again and just accepting the fact that we're just still around? But then when you look at all the positive feedback on the social media platforms and the record sales and in conversation with journalists, you know, the album got amazing reviews.
Yeah.
And you sort of think, we are still relevant. Yeah. Hooray for that. So that's really great. You know, we're attracting younger audiences. The old stalwarts are still with us. So it's wonderful. I think our audience is expanding all the time with each release.
Yeah.
And it's amazing. And you know, I only joined Facebook last year because I'm old-fashioned and I didn't really know what it was. And since
That
I
is
joined it, yeah, I've seen loads of people sending photos, you know, their new My Dying Bride t-shirts and stuff, and some of them are like 12 years old. And I'm thinking, yeah, still got it. I still got it. So it's great, you know. So the album's doing really well. Of course, it would have been nice to have done some live shows this year to promote it, but that's not going to happen. So we've accepted that. And the EP, as you mentioned, is coming out on November the 20th. And we're doing the promotion for it already, which is great fun. It keeps the band active. I popped down to London a couple of weeks ago and shot the video for it. That should be coming out around Halloween or maybe very early November. And then there's the My Dying Bride beer coming out a little bit later. Old Earth.
Do you want to show people? This is your chance.
Yeah, I've got a can of it. It's empty because it's not going to last long. It's called Old Earth, and it'll be online soon from Darkland Brewery up here in Yorkshire.
Yeah,
it's a craft lager and it's rather nice. And we're just trying to keep the momentum going. You know, these are tough times for anyone involved in the arts. So you just need to maintain a presence somehow, but not to the point where I'm going to photograph what I'm having for my tea and posting that on the social media. I've never done that, and I'm not about to start doing that because well, if I had any hair, I'd be pulling it out.
Yeah,
it just drives me mental seeing people post trivia just to keep those numbers up, or the logarithms that are involved in social media. People think that if you post something every day, even if it's utter tosh, it will help keep the numbers up. And I'm thinking, I think the last time I posted something on Instagram was about a fortnight ago. Yeah. And I'm not in any great urge to post anything again. If I've got something to say, I'll post something. Yeah. But I'm not just going to, here's me with a cup of tea.
No. Do you know what? You're right. I think it's good to have a healthy relationship with social media. I think it's good to keep connected with people, but you're in good company because I wouldn't post pictures of me having a cup of tea or what I'm going to eat either. But people do, and I think I don't know. I think it's probably sometimes born out of loneliness. But do you remember that Black Mirror episode? Did you ever watch that series?
I've not seen it yet.
Oh, there's one about like where your whole life revolves around getting likes from like literally every connection you make, even in person. It's all relevant to the likes and stuff, and it's so revealing, I suppose, of how life and culture is at the moment. But
right.
I think you're right. I think you've got a really good purpose for using it because people want to be connected with bands, and if you think back to 30 years ago, we didn't have that. If we wanted to, it's hard enough to find out that gigs were even happening. You had to be on mailing lists, stuff arrived in the post, or somebody would tell you. And it makes me wonder sometimes how I ever went to anything. How did I even know things were happening? I can't even remember a day before I had email. But
back in the old days, it was little flyers. We would go to this great club called the Frog and Toad in Bradford, and I'd go with pockets filled with flyers for gigs I was aware of. Even though they weren't my gigs, and even though they weren't necessarily within 100 miles of Yorkshire. And when we'd go to this club, everybody was there. You just leave these leaflets. All the tables were full of leaflets.
They were.
And that was social media back then, it was passing the good word about gigs, and everybody did it. I picked up as many leaflets as I left.
Yeah, and do you know what? Sometimes I like it when I'll get a coat out that I haven't, even nowadays, even to this day, I might put a coat out, winter season comes in, put my hand in my pocket and there's a flyer for a gig. So it still happens, but it's nice.
I prefer if it was a fiver.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
Always good when you drag that coat out for months and put your hands in the pockets. There's 20 quid!
20 quid, it's like winning the lottery, isn't it? Just for
it is, isn't it? It's a funny little thing.
So one thing I was going to ask you actually, because obviously you like you say, Ghost of Orion was released before lockdown. When you were writing and recording for the EP, how has this way of life influenced either the writing or the process or the recording and how you're working with your band? How's that been for you guys?
It's not changed it, because when we wrote the album, when Andrew, to be honest, wrote most of the album by himself, lockdown wasn't happening, Andrew is writing
For the EP, did things change for the EP? Has that been
No, because the EP was recorded at the same time as the album.
Oh, I see. Right.
We were really conscious about planning ahead.
Right.
So we made sure that we recorded 11 pieces of music, and we put 8 on the album and kept 3 behind for the EP. But obviously, because we loved all the songs, we were arguing the toss about which song goes where.
Yeah.
So we left it up to Nuclear Blast. We said to those guys, look, you've got the ears for a good song. You're outsiders, so you can decide which songs you think would constitute a good EP for a release further down the line. So they picked the songs.
Yeah.
And our engineer, Mark Minot, he has given the EP a little bit of a tweak, so it doesn't sound exactly the same as the album.
Yeah.
It's got a different vibe to it. So to answer your question, I've written nothing during lockdown. And I've not had time, I have a young daughter, and when the schools closed, I was homeschooling her, and I had her from 8 o'clock in the morning till 8 in the evening. So I was going to bed at 9, absolutely shattered.
Yeah.
It's only now, when the kids have been back at school, I've found that I've got some free time finally to be a bit more creative. So we haven't written any music during lockdown. As I mentioned, Andrew's written a few little things, but I mean, he always writes anyway. He's a guitar player and a songwriter. He never really stops, I suppose. But we haven't got together to form finished music yet. Whether or not we do this year, I don't know. We'll have to keep our eye on what's happening with COVID, because it looks already like early 2021 shows are also going to be cancelled.
Yeah.
And that's going to start to push into sort of springtime and possibly the summer festivals. If it's going to be extended, then we are almost certainly going to get together and start writing some new material.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Well, that will be something to look forward to. And it'd be interesting to see, because life does influence art. So it'd be interesting to see if it's the stuff that's been happening, if that influences your new writing. So
yeah, definitely it should do, because if you look back at our entire catalogue, each album contains 1 or 2 fairly personal songs, and I might disguise them from time to time, because it's hard to write passionately about what's bleeding from your heart, and so I will try and disguise my actual focus with poetry, so that I'm not reading my exact thoughts, because it's too sensitive.
Of course.
And I've done that with every album, including The Ghost of Orion. And as you grow older, you've experienced more, and therefore you have a broader range of interests to write about. So I'm still writing about things today that I did 30 years ago. Because with hindsight, you look back and you go, you shouldn't be doing things like that, young man. And it's just, life affects everything you do, and that applies to music as well.
I guess that's why it's so relatable as well for people. So because we're all, everyone having their own different experiences, but essentially, especially when we're kind of kindred spirits, when we've got a passion for similar music, you always find stuff that you relate to, and I think that's what's most important about music. That's that form of communication and relatability. That's what takes somebody from a dark place to a better place, or I don't know, even just reassures them that other people are the same, or whatever that might be. I think it absolutely has to have human connection in there. That's what makes it so real, and so that's why everyone's so passionate about it. And I guess that's why we're all missing it so much, and missing the music scene, because that's where you get to go out and really feel it even more than just putting your headphones on or cranking it up in your car. So, and you get the passion back from the band then as well. You
do, you really miss it. And we've discussed doing one of these live streaming gig type things, but I'm not so sure that they're for us, because part of what drives me as a performer on stage is the adrenaline you get from being absolutely terrified of standing in front of hundreds or sometimes thousands of people. That makes you do the things that you do on stage. Now, if we were to do a gig in front of nobody but some cameras, I'm not sure that nervousness will be generated, because you've got no one to look at. And so that would affect the way I gesticulate, because there's no one to gesticulate. And after each song, do you bother saying thank you?
Yeah.
You know, I just don't know how I would approach a live gig that's not a live performance.
Yeah, I think
we're looking at it.
People are trying it, and you're right. It isn't ever going to be the same. Sitting in your lounge and watching it isn't ever going to be the same as being there. But you know what? Some things are better than nothing, and it's worth trying or considering different things that you think will work for you. So who knows? We'll see. We'll keep an eye out. Keep an eye on social media. That'll be something you post about. That's for sure.
Well, again, I mean, if the live gigs things start getting pushed further and further back, everybody will do it. The online streaming thing.
Sure. Yeah. For sure. Cool. Well, what I'm going to do now is because we are on a fairly tight time schedule, just because we've got a lot of interviews that we have to do. So I'm going to move on to some spooky questions now. If that's all right with you.
Yeah.
So we're going to start with an easy one, I suppose. What's your favourite horror movie of all time, or the scariest in your opinion?
When I was a kid, it was Amityville Horror, the original.
Oh my God, that was terrifying. Didn't that get banned because it was so bad or something?
I think it was classed as one of those video nasties from back in the day.
It was certainly 18 plus, which meant it was very scary. I'm sure.
Yeah. And I must have been underage when I saw that. So
yeah.
But I think, I haven't seen it for years, but if I watched it again recently, I'd probably be smirking a little bit.
Yeah.
But in more recent years, gosh, I can't remember the last time I watched something really scary. I suppose when you get older and wiser, you sort of see it's a rubber mask and it's a plastic knife.
Yeah.
When you're younger, you don't see that and you're terrified. Or The Evil Dead, again, another classic.
A good one, yeah, absolutely. Okay, then, all right, they get sillier now. If you could carve anyone's face into a pumpkin, who would you pick?
I think probably Mr. Trump.
Yeah, look at that. Everybody wants to carve.
Because, the complexion is the same anyway, so it's going to look very realistic. And then when it's all over, you can kick its teeth in.
Absolutely. You could probably do it with a Sharpie, couldn't you, as well? Just keep the face, keep the full face.
Yeah.
You know what? When I wrote that question, I thought somebody's going to say Trump, and no one has yet, so I'm glad you did.
Oh, okay.
All right, then. Would you rather play a trick on someone or give someone a treat?
I think it would have to be a treat, because tricks just aren't, they're just no fun, are they, really? They're supposed to be funny, but they're not.
They can be a little bit, but no, you're right. Go for the nice one. Give them lovely. All right, then some what do you think questions. So clowns, cute or scary?
Cute.
Oh, really? Now that's a strange answer.
Loved them as a kid.
Oh, brilliant. Well, that's good then. You haven't watched Stephen King yet then? That'll change your mind. It's horrible. Don't watch it. It'll ruin your childhood. Spiders, same question. Cute or scary?
Well, now, I used to hate them, but then when I had my daughter, I didn't want her to be afraid of spiders.
Oh.
So when one would creep across the floor one autumn evening, the size of a plate, she'd look at it and I'd say, just watch this. And I'd be absolutely crapping myself inside. I'd get up, cup my hand around it.
You did not.
Its feet would be poking out, and I'd open the window and chuck it out and say, no need to be worried, darling. So I was, now I'm not.
Well done. See, I can cut them and, the cup and cardboard thing, but I couldn't touch one. That's incredible. Well done.
Just put your hand on them. They're not going to bite you.
I know. All right, then. Ghosts. Do you believe or not?
No.
No, me neither. Actually, that's a simple answer, isn't it? Me neither. I love a good ghost story. I know this isn't about me, but I love a good ghost story. But do I believe? Actually, I don't. So, yeah, I
kind of want to believe, but I don't know. Probably not.
No, I think I agree with you. All right, then, final question. What would it take to scare the shit out of you? Because spiders ain't going to do it, and neither are ghosts as it happens, and neither are clowns.
No, for me, it's sudden noises and sudden, it's that thing, because you're not ready for it, and your heart leaps straight out of your chest. So it's like someone let a firework off near me, like a month before bonfire night a couple of years ago, and it wasn't one of those that goes. So it landed near me, and I didn't know what it was, like a bird or something. And when it went off, I nearly shat myself. Sudden.
You would, and I think that is a perfectly reasonable reaction to something like that.
Yeah, and it's anything else, someone banging a crisp packet right behind me. It's just
blue.
jump scares. I don't like jump scares.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, well, listen, there endeth the silly questions and the interview. So thank you so much for catching up with me. It's been awesome. I definitely we could have chatted for a lot longer because it's been fantastic. So just to finish then, I'm Kaz Parker for MMH with Aaron Stainthorpe from My Dying Bride for our MMH and Nuclear Blast Scarefest. Thank you so much.
Cheers, Kaz.
Thank you all.
Bye-bye.
Side of me. Die! Remove the law of human race. I'm the king. The king is life. And now I'm doing evil speech. Break your back. Turn the wicked. My mouth will release the bird. I burn away.
Thank you all, and good night. Thank you very much. Now you can go and enjoy yourselves. Cheers.
So Lexi Francis here of Tuesday Evening's Rule Breakers show on MMH, the home of rock radio. And I'm now joined by Dana of Kingdom of Giants for our Scarefest 2020. So welcome.
Hey, thank you for having me.
Thank you for joining. Let's take it back right to the very start. So can you tell me a bit about the history of Kingdom of Giants and how you formed back in 2011?
Yeah, totally. I feel like it was a totally different day and age for bands to get started. I mean, it was just a bunch of metal kids in high school, and they all happened to play different instruments and start jamming together and start writing some music. And those guys are totally different lineup, minus a couple of the members from then to now. But and I wasn't even a part of that, but those guys kept jamming together and the songs kept evolving. And slowly after high school, it became Kingdom of Giants, and they started to pick up a little bit of track in the local scene. And then basically that's when I joined, and there was a name change. We used to be called Hello Sailor, and then I joined, and then we became Kingdom of Giants. We recorded our first EP, and that came out in January 2011. And that was the official start of Kingdom of Giants. But it started as just like a high school kids just jamming together and not really knowing or meaning for it to go this far. And next thing you know, we're 12 years deep or something like that, you know?
You're all wrapped up in it now. You can no escape.
Totally. Yeah, right. There's no going back. Like my 20s are gone. I chose this. Yeah, I got to dive in.
So, apart from the band members changing, you mentioned that obviously you evolved the sound from having different people join before you came to Giants. How do you think it's evolved since you've released your first EP?
It's crazy. It's like if you listen to that first EP and then you listen to the new album coming out, it's like there's elements that are the same, but it feels like a whole new band. But it feels like we took the right steps throughout that time and evolved our sound, and it wasn't just some dramatic change right away, you know? So I think we did what we wanted to do as a band throughout the years. We wrote what we were interested in hearing at that time. And, you know, sometimes people get bummed out that one album doesn't sound like the one before it. But in my experience, people either are going to complain that it sounds just like the last album, or they're going to complain that you've changed too much. And I'd rather have people complain that we changed too much and at least get to develop the sound a little bit, you know?
For sure, definitely. So you just mentioned your upcoming album, Passenger. So this is your fourth release. What can we expect to look forward to from the album, and how does it differ from your previous releases?
This one feels just so much more put together and thought out. It doesn't feel like we just wrote a bunch of songs and just kind of threw it together, which is what it's kind of felt like in the past. We actually had a theme that we wanted to go with, and it's not necessarily like a concept album or anything like that, but the overall vibe of the album feels cohesive. And we didn't really get experimental. In terms of like crazy structures or time signatures, which we've done in the past, we just wanted to write an album where just every single song you're like, yes, this one slaps. Yes, this one slaps. And you don't get the album and you're like, oh, all the singles were the best songs. Like this one was hard for us to choose the singles, and we actually like kind of argued about which ones should be the singles because it feels like a lot of them could be.
Mm-hmm. So Wayfinder, I know, is one of the singles that you've released, and the video is completely different to things that you may have released before. So can you talk me through how you came up with the decision for how you wanted to put that out?
Yeah, we have, the brains behind so much of our video work is the guy who we've been working with forever now, Ori McGinnis. He's one of my best friends, and he's just insane with the ideas he comes up with. It's like I work with him in the video world too, and he'll write a treatment for a music video, and you're just like, how are we going to pull that off? And then one way or another, we do it, whether it's for my band or another band, and we end up pulling it off. And I remember when he wanted to do Wayfinder, and I knew we were driving cars through portals, and I was going to be floating over the ocean. I was just like, okay, man, let's do this. It fits the vibe, and it feels very cinematic. And we had never done a video where we aren't performing. We've always had the whole band performing in the video, and we wanted to do one that felt a little bit more like a narrative, but like a new spin on a narrative. And Johnny and I would be performing our parts, but only in certain sections here and there, and it was more about the storytelling than it was about the watch us jam out in a warehouse.
So going back again to when you first got together, you used to tour quite a lot, and obviously with the current circumstances, it's caused quite a lot of restrictions. So how do you think the current pandemic has impacted on the music industry, and where do you think it could potentially be heading?
Yeah, that's such a crazy tough situation, because it's hard to tell when things are going to go back to normal, if they'll ever go back to normal. I believe that they will eventually go back to normal, as long as people take the right steps and we figure out what's going on here. By we, I mean people way smarter than me that are going to save the world and humanity, because I'm not helping at all except just wearing a mask, doing my thing, but I think it's been a challenging time and an interesting time for bands, because I'm sure there's been so many bands, us included, that have releases planned and tours planned, and we had finally picked up our touring reputation. We had done a couple Born of Osiris tours and the As I Lay Dying tour, and that was 3 years after our album released, so we were at the very end of an album cycle. So to be picking up traction then was difficult for a band to do. So we were finally, Sharp Tone, we had announced Sharp Tone, we had announced all these great tours, the ball was rolling for us, and the album was actually supposed to come out in July, but we were like, we need a better plan. What do people need from Kingdom of Giants right now? Do they need to just drop a random album in July, or do they need a new song, something to look forward to 4 months in a row, then get the full album? And hopefully by then we've been able to see what has worked for bands. Are the live streamings working? Are the Twitch streams working? Like, what isn't, and what's cool, what isn't, what's a novelty that people are going to get sick of, what's going to go away, what are we too late to the game on? So it's really just, just working with what we got and just seeing how things go, trying to come up with a game plan.
Definitely. Well, we've obviously got your album release like we were talking about earlier, but for 2021, what can we look forward to from Kingdom of Giants?
Hopefully back to touring, playing some shows. If not, then we got some thinking to do. We're going to have to do a lot of live digital stuff and think outside the box, because, this is a very weird time for everyone who's putting out albums. No one's really had to do it like this before. You're dropping an album, and what do you do next,
Awesome. Well, Dana, it's been awesome speaking with you. Thank you for your time.
I appreciate being here so much, and look forward to the Scarefest.
Wake up, Texas! Let's go! All the children in your memory, but it's long. You're all I can see at the end of the road. Future real. Bleach the color, erase the land. You are all I see at the end of the road. I can tell you,
Today at MMH Radio, I'm speaking to JF, or Jean-Francois, from Cataclysm. The big news at the moment is the new album came out only 3 weeks ago, maybe, Unconquered. How's the reception been for that so far?
It's been really amazing. We had so much positive response from all around the globe, and I'm happy because we worked so hard on this record, and it's nice to see the positive feedback after so much hard work, and it's cool. It's a good album for Cataclysm. I think it puts us in somewhat in a new. It's like a modernization and revitalization of the band, but at the same time we're very much staying true to our roots, and so that's why I think our fans are so pleased, and the media has been really excited about this release.
First thing I noticed when I listened to some of the new songs was that the guitar tuning is a lot lower. First album was 7-string.
Mm-hmm.
Why now in 2020 did you decide to transition over to extended range guitars?
Well, I've been playing 7-string for quite a while, but I was talking with the guys, and we didn't want to do a move like that because they were afraid to change the sound of the band a bit too much, and at the same time it complicates things whenever we have to travel and go out on the road, and you have to bring more guitars. And what do you do with the old songs? Do you leave them in the same tuning, or do you switch the tuning for those two and all that, and all those questions? And so we decided that when I started writing those songs for this record, I said, okay, you know what, I'm writing with the 7 strings, and I sent the guys the songs, and they were blown away with the heaviness brought and the new elements and textures that we have now in the band. So they were super happy with it. And then we talked about it, and we said, no, let's deal with the consequences of that when the time comes. But so far, I think we have a good plan of how we want to manage things and do things for the future concerts and tourings and the flying gigs for festivals and all that.
Oh, that's cool. Who are your favorite 7-string players at the moment? Who are you?
I'm a big Deftones fan. I know he's on 8 strings now. Steven, I met it a few times because we played some shows with Deftones a few years ago, and I really like his style and his sound. So I guess it's influencing me a little bit, but I like so many things. Like I'll listen to some newer deathcore stuff. Not that I'm it, when I picked up my first 7 strings, I kept my playing style the same as I always did with Cataclysm because it's just me. That's how I do things. So my thing was like I wanted to get influenced by the sound and the textures, but I wanted to keep my own style as a player in there. So I didn't go full on with the full like more modern way of doing things. I kind of it's still my playing in there, so I want to keep my style the way it is. But yeah, these guys definitely influence like the lower tones for sure.
I was listening to the new Deftones album actually. I think there's one song with a 9-string because one of the lyrics is just so low. I can't believe he's doing that on a 7-string.
It's crazy the technology for those guitars. It's so much better nowadays than it was like say even 5 years ago, and you're able to maintain that low tuning to a degree that's unbelievable. It's so accurate now compared to when I first started playing those 7 strings, and now I'm even eyeing like getting even more strings because I find it fun. I feel it opens up a whole new range of things you can do, and it's just more guitars that you can play. So it's interesting to me.
Definitely, I just get lost on a 7 or 8 string. I can't. It just blows my mind too much. But anyway, Unconquered was Cataclysm's 14th album. And we seem to get a new album every 2 to 3 years. How do you keep that creative flow so regular with your band? What's the secret?
Well, we do this out of sheer love for music and playing together, and we have that fire still after all these years, and it's what we do. It's our lifestyle, and like right now, this whole pandemic started, and we're feeling a little lost because we can't tour and go out and promote the new album, but we're already like, man, I want to keep writing and playing some, like do some more music because that's basically what we do. And then so we started we're working on the new XDO album. That's a side project band that we have, and so that's coming along great as well. And more stuff for Cataclysm after that. And Mauricio was telling me he wants to maybe start working on a solo project for himself, different genre, different style, but more music, and he wanted me to help him with that. So we're gonna keep writing and doing things because it's just what we do. And otherwise, I'm the type of person that if I do nothing for even just a couple of weeks, I go completely insane. I need to keep myself busy, and we love music. I love what I do. I run a little recording studio here at home, so I keep working on music when we're not on the road. So I do a lot of mixing, mastering, and all that. That's where we're at
nice.
Today. So yeah, that's just it's our lives, and we love what we do, and we hope to keep going for as long as we can. Of course, we realize that we're getting older, and it's testing a little bit the limits of like. So we're starting to have that talk now, where like eventually we're gonna slow things down, but for now we still have that energy, and we're still in a good age bracket, and we're gonna push it as far as we can. We just hope that this pandemic stuff like comes to an end eventually, because it's just been bad for us. It feels like almost like we're wasting precious years of career that you can't move forward with anything. You just have to wait to see what's going to happen.
Yeah, I completely understand that, and I'm happy to hear about XDO. Actually, that was going to be one of my questions. So it's cool that there's going to be some more music for that. Cataclysm announced a new drummer, James Payne, a few weeks ago. What does he bring to the band? What does, you know?
Well, James is a bit younger than us, and he's bringing like a fresh new attitude, because he's such a cool guy, like, to work with, and we're like, wow, like, because we had our way of doing things with Ollie, which was fine, but I find James bring a whole new like fresh energy to the band, and I love his playing style, his drumming style. It's super fun to play with him, and he has different techniques than all the drummers we had before that he's incorporating a little bit in our songs, and it's super nice and fresh, and it just rejuvenates the band a little more again. And he's that type of drummer also that he loves to play fast, and so he's kind of like driving the pace, and all of us old guys are like, okay, we're keeping up and pushing ourselves further to follow and to drive ourselves to be more solid and faster and all that. So it's cool. It brings a good energy to the band for sure.
And finally, like, as a producer, do you think, while COVID is still slowing down the world completely, do you think you'll keep being busier as a producer? Do you think we'll hear more studio recordings from bands?
I'm sure. I think it's gonna, like, an avalanche of new music is coming, because I know I've talked to people. Some people are saying that they're not inspired because they're slightly down or depressed, and they don't want to touch their instruments. But from what I've experienced on our side of things, it's that we are working harder than ever to work on new music, and here at the studio it's been crazy busy. It's nonstop, so I'm pretty much booked till like well into next year on all kinds of cool projects. And so I did some stuff for Municipal Waste. I'm doing a new Die Antichrist for Napalm Records. And then I right now I'm working on Night Shadow. I just finished a new Macabre that's coming from Nuclear Blast. It's just been like nonstop, and for me it's exciting, and it helps me go through the whole pandemic, because if I didn't have that, I would probably be in my room drinking, be all depressed. But no, I keep waking up happy. It keeps me smiling, and I keep on working hard as much as I can.
Yeah, absolutely. It's important to stay busy with all this going on. Thank you so much for speaking today. It's been really fun.
Yes, thank you very much for your time. This was cool.
Yeah, it was. I'll see you out on the road in like 3 years, maybe, when
hopefully before that. Like we have a bunch of shows booked in the summer, all the open airs, but for some reason I am debating if that's gonna happen or not. Like, I'm knocking on wood, I hope it does, but in my mind I see beginning of 2022 is more realistic for things to start happening again. And so I'm hoping for that, but let's see what happens.
Yeah, I'm supposed to be going on a tour in February, and we just don't think it's going to happen. So hopefully.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much. Thanks for your time.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Where you could see the truth inside. There's times where you could break the code of lies. Underneath the scars, we live and we will die. The past is still alive, it's burning in the sky. Underneath the stars, the writing's on the wall. We stand and we will The silence of the world below, shackled in chains. There's the faith inside. I broke the rules of logic. I broke the rules of stage. Deep inside it lives. I'm the their lies. From the dark I rise. Somewhere deep inside my soul, I'm left to grow. I'm left to die. Somewhere deep inside my soul, I'm left to grow. I'm left to die. Survival.
Good morning.
Good afternoon from the UK. Today at MMH, the home of rock radio, we're speaking to Dave White from Heathen, Bay Area thrash metal band formed in the early 80s. Got a new album out, Empire of the Blind, come out 2-3 weeks ago. Perhaps.
Yeah, on the 18th of September.
That's right. Before we talk about the music, how are you keeping busy at the moment with coronavirus changing everything?
Well, you know, we went from California and we drove across country to Florida. My in-laws are here, and we're living close to the beach. We figured if we're going to be in shelter in place kind of deal, and you know, with all this, we'd rather do it where the weather's great and where the ocean is full of waves, and you know, I mean, you know, trying to enjoy it as much as we can. You know, it's just a little claustrophobic because, you know, with the new record out and not being able to get out on the road and perform and be a band is stifling and frustrating. That aside, we're just doing everything I can to stay patient and productive.
Of course, I understand that completely. I'm just looking out my window and it's very grey, so I can understand being by the nice weather completely.
Yeah, where are you calling from?
Birmingham, UK. West.
Oh, Birmingham. Okay.
Yeah.
I've been there before. I actually like it there very much.
It's a nice.
As Birmingham, that's the we played the Hummingbird there, I believe. Right? The home of Black Sabbath.
Home of Black Sabbath, Judas Priest, Napalm Death.
Yeah.
A lot of Birmingham. Diamond Header from around here as well. A little bit.
It's like the Bay Area of of the UK.
I like to think so. I certainly like to.
Yeah.
A
lot of history.
Yeah, there's lots going on. But anyway, into the present day, I guess. New album. It's a lot more direct than, say, Victims of Deception or Evolution of Chaos. What do you think inspired that musical shift?
Purely financial. No, I mean it actually has a little bit to do with it because with those long songs like No Stone Unturned or Hypnotized, which I like the long epic tunes, on stage they're draining for sure, especially Hypnotized because it's off the hook. But when it comes down to royalties, things like that, we get paid the same if we do a song for 3 minutes or if we do a song for 12 minutes. Mm-hmm. So we'd much rather give you substance in 5 minutes, and really, get that in there. But the other hand, I mean, most predominantly it's about, like I said, cutting to the chase and condensing the song with the riffs and getting to the point. We want it to be dynamic and we want the kids to, hear it and then want to hear it again, so you're going to go through this record, it's going to blaze. Each song are going to blaze, as you listen, and then you're just going to want to go back and listen to it again. Where we spent the time, even though the songs are, shorter on this record, is we really paid attention to layering on the record. So there's a lot of layers with guitars, mostly guitars and vocals. I'd say that the drums and bass are the foundation, and they're not really layered as like the guitars and vocals. So there was a lot of time spent on that to give you or the listener more to sort of chew on every time they listen. There's something new to hear.
Yeah, definitely. I think the album is still quite epic with the guitars and vocals, but it's been done in a different way to having like lengthy extended tracks. Definitely.
Right. Well, we talked about that leading up to writing the new record, is that, let's try to sort of polish our songwriting and say what we got to say without dragging the story out too long,
Yeah, that's fair enough. It's full of more socio-political lyrics, as always Heathen have had. But what's been the inspiration on this album that wasn't on the previous albums, perhaps?
Well, I mean, I think Cragen's approach was a carryover from the last records. The reoccurring, there's a lot of reoccurring themes, but in his perspective. And then and where I've always tried to write is what's going on in the world currently, and where my head is currently. And so there's new themes because now, with social media being so prevalent in our society, and it's really changed us. It's really divided us, and all the different mediums that are out there. I don't know if you've watched this new documentary that came out on Netflix. Oh God, what's it called? Something Truth. I fucking can't remember it now. I need my wife to give me those things. I'm always like, what's that thing called again? Because I can't ever remember shit. The Uncertain Truth, I think, is something like that. But it just talks about all the algorithms and how, depending where you live, you're being fed different information. And then there's all the conspiracy theories and all this stuff, and people don't know which way is up or down. They don't know which, they can't tell the difference between truth and a lie. And we are in trouble. We're in serious trouble. And this little documentary came out just recently, but Cragen was already on top of it when he wrote some of the songs on this record. The Blight has a lot to do with that, and the Empire of the Blind. So we try to stay current, and we try to write what we know.
That's a good answer. I completely dig that. Have you got a vocal warm-up for studio or live?
Do I have a vocal warm-up?
Yeah.
Yeah, tequila. No, it's partially true. No, I do warm up. I have some old warm-ups from a vocal training that I did. What is her name? Claudine Spence. She's a great vocal teacher from the Bay Area. And then Melissa Cross, I got into her, the Zen of Screaming.
Yeah.
I really like her program. It kind of cuts to the chase, where the stuff that I do with Claudine's stuff is so elaborate and long. I needed something, especially on the road, to cut to the chase. And I still spend a good 45 minutes to 50 minutes warming up before a show. After, and then there's certain days where I just feel good, and I don't need to do that. But my ritual has always been a tequila sunrise and a shot or two of some good tequila, just to sort of heat things up and just heat me up a little bit,
Keeps the throat nice and warm, doesn't it?
Yeah, I mean, and it's a little bit of fire, and and I think it relaxes me too, a little bit. For me, tequila, if I'm drinking hard alcohol, that's my alcohol of choice. And I've never been like an angry tequila drinker, which I've seen, people demonstrate, but it makes me freaking happy and whatever. But I don't overdo it. I just have that nice shot or two before a show, and I'm just ready to go.
Oh.
And I think it's more ritualistic than anything else at this point.
Well, if it ain't broke, then why fix it?
That's exactly. Not changing it. It's I've been very lucky over the years to be able to come out and do it every night, especially on tour, and have the goods. There's only been a couple times in my career where I had nothing. And I can count it on one hand. And really it was a show in New Jersey where we had done a lot of shows on the American tour, and I was coming down with something and I had nothing, and it was horrible. It was horrible. And then a show that we did in Sacramento where I just got over the flu and literally had nothing. And I still went out there and did it, but it was a nightmare for me. I hated every minute of it because what I do takes a lot. And if I don't have the goods, it's not fun.
Oh, I can understand that. You spoke about some of the less enjoyable shows maybe, but have you got any gigs that really stand out as being your personal favorite or really memorable for the right reasons?
Oh God, there's so many. And like with Heathen, just most recently, our last European tour, we had a lot of great shows, and there were some good festivals on that. Hellfest was a lot of fun, great crowd. Grass Pop, you know, probably one of the biggest crowds we've ever played, you know, for. But actually, my favorite show was in Milan at a little bar called the Blue Moon Saloon. It was a little place, little teeny stage. They had a little like block in front of the stage for me to stand on. And the place, you know, there was some kids in there for the opening bands, and some of the, you know, the opening bands were also there for the show. And it was kind of like, oh, this is, I remember walking in going, oh, really? We're playing this place? You know, it's this little teeny place with the bar in the middle of the room. And then when we were getting ready to come on, there was a bunch of kids, you know, a bunch of young guys and fans that were like in front of the stage, but all of them were surrounding that block, and they all had like their foot on that block. And, you know, and I remember thinking, fuck, that's my area. And I don't want to be an asshole, you know, get off my fucking stage, dude. So I just was like, whatever, you know, I got up there and I sort of just kind of put my head down with everybody else, you know, and the band started, we started off with Dying Season, and those kids started headbanging like freaking nuts. And I was right there with them. And the place was packed at that point. And as soon as it comes in with, hey, it's Dying Season, everybody in the room, and especially those kids that were surrounding me, all saying the words. And it was fucking on. It was on right there, and had the best time. And I let them sing with me, and it was electric. It was electric. And the room, I mean, the weather that day was, I think it was probably in the 90s. It was really warm. And at night, it was really warm. And the club was, like I said, it was packed, and it was hotter than hell. And I think we played about 8 songs, 10 maybe, I don't know, 8 or 10 songs. And John Deddy, who was filling in on that tour, the drummer, he couldn't breathe. And he, all of a sudden, after we finished the song, he comes walking away from the kit. And I was like, where are you going? He's like, I need air. And I'm like, shit, you know, like what? And then Lee goes, yeah, me too. And he goes, tell him we'll be back in 5 minutes. And I'm like, okay, you know. And I'm like, okay, guys, let's go have a beer and we'll come back, get some air. And everybody's like, okay. And everybody went outside, and we probably took a break for a good 30 minutes and drank. And I was, you know, nervous, like, are we going to get everybody back into this club? You know, are we going to lose people? Yeah. And we came back inside, and as soon as they, you know, the guys started making noise with their guitars, that room filled up fast. And we played another 45 minutes, I believe, you know, and just crushed it. And it was my favorite show of the tour, and probably one of my most favorite shows of all time.
Sounds
so go Italy.
Good old fans. I think that is time on our interview, but it was really great speaking to you, and I hope to see the new songs live at some point.
That's it.
That's
all you got?
Be back 10 minutes.
That's all you got?
I'm
kidding. No, right on. I appreciate it, man. That was really fun.
No worries.
Hopefully we get over there and maybe we can play the Hummingbird again. That would be amazing.
Yeah, come and crush Birmingham. I'll be there for sure.
Okay, right on. Thank you.
Take it easy, man.
All right, you too.
David White for MMH Radio. Thank you.
All right. Peace. You know what?
day, your mind is under their control. Here's the time, you will not fade your face. Soon be cold. Hey!
Hi, I'm Kaz Parker for LMH, the home of rock radio, with Andreas Kisser, guitarist for Sepultura. I'm super excited to have you here on Zoom with me as part of our exclusive Nuclear Blast Scarefest for Halloween. So thank you so much for joining me. And,
thank you.
As this is all about scary times, how are you finding life at the moment with the big bad virus spoiling all the fun?
Yes, it is really weird situation, but you know, we have a new album that came out in February. We have a whole tour scheduled for 2020, United States, Canada, a lot of great festivals in Europe, June, July. Everything really, you know, stopped very quickly, you know, in one day, basically. We had to cancel everything. But we're very busy actually working in our houses. We work in ideas and projects that were very difficult to work while we were on tour. So we're putting our energy and time to really build stuff that was kind of waiting, you know, for us to really give some attention and energy to it. So, and we have every Wednesday, you know, the Sepultura, where we have guests, live Q&A, we play our music, we talk to our fans, and that kept the band really busy and you know, talking about Sepultura, which is great.
Yeah, I saw that. I saw that you've now dropped it down to every other Wednesday as well. So presumably that's because life is just getting so busy. Yeah, I've got to say, you seem to be one of the most active bands across social media across this period, and I guess it's a good thing getting the most out of it, because that's all we can do, isn't it? So, how are you finding the current way of life? How is that influencing either working with the band or any writing that you're doing?
Yeah, in that respect, it changed everything, because the band basically is my second family. You know, actually, I spend more time with the band compared to my family, and that changed drastically. You know, so I'm home all the time. You know, everybody's home all the time. This is very different for everyone involved at the house. We have situations of, you know, discussions and, you know, whatever, rispid arguments and stuff like that. But I think it's a very positive way of knowing each other, you know, and especially ourselves, because being a father, being a husband, you know, while we are on tour and playing, it's very difficult. It's very different, to say the least. You know, it's very different. But now we are experiencing something different, which is unexpected, unplanned. But that's what life is all about, right? Well, it doesn't matter how you plan. You know, you don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. You know, especially death. You know, we're talking about here Halloween and scary things, and death is part of life. I mean, we're born and we know we're gonna die, you know, someday, somehow. But oh my God, death. But we should embrace everything, you know, and really try to create something new out of this situation. You know, I think Sepultura career is like that. We always try to really to live the present, not trying to repeat what is not there anymore, so I think there's a good chance here for everyone really to rethink certain attitudes and certain way of life that we could really change for better. I think there's a opportunity here.
Yeah, and you know what, you're absolutely right, because you have to stay positive, because there isn't a lot of positivity around. But one thing that the fans need is the music. We still need you guys, because that's super important. That's what's keeping us going. So I think like with Sepultura, the way you've embraced it and you've created a lot of positives and different ways of connecting with the bands, that's the best thing that you can do. Absolutely embrace it. Like you say, make a positive out of a negative. I mean, obviously, having only just released an album, and it's an awesome album. I love the fact that you've got your sort of 4 different themes, where you're looking at influences from Sepultura over the years, but creating new music from it as well, and bringing that right up to speed. It's fantastic. I mean, have you been happy with how the album's been received?
Oh my God, yes. Unbelievable. Really, the reaction has been amazing, overwhelming.
Yeah.
We knew we had something special, because we put a lot of our time and energy to build Quadra. I mean, Machine Messiah, the previous album, was done very quickly, actually. In 4 or 5 months, we wrote, we did the pre-production and recorded everything. It was really kind of rushing, but it was great. It was really well received. We worked with Jens Bogren, the producer in Sweden, which had a great chemistry with us.
Yeah.
So we chose to go to the same studio, to the same producer, but we needed more time, really. I wanted to start really earlier to find the concept, to find the direction, dividing the album in 4, using geometry and numerology and all that stuff. It really helped us to find the right riffs and the right songs for the right place on the album, so it was a lot of work. It was one of the most difficult albums really to record and to write, but it was a lot of fun. It was fantastic to work in such a exciting, material. And the response was immediate. When the album came out, a lot of people really responded very positively. A lot of emotion involved. I heard people listening to the whole album in streaming platforms for the first time, which was, a great victory. I think metal has this characteristic, to take care of the album, to tell a story, and not only work on singles, and treat music as only as a product, as plastic or something, So in that respect, I think heavy metal is really rich, in a sense of creativity and art. You see, we give room, let's say, to a lot of artists for metal covers, and all the artwork, T-shirts and all that stuff, which is very important for all of us, so it's great. It keeps the whole business really flowing.
Yeah, it does. Absolutely. So I bet you're excited to tour it. I mean, I did see that you've got your tour all booked and everything, so I bet you can't wait to get out in there and actually play it all live. But the timing of the release, actually, as it turned out, which none of us really could have predicted what was going to happen, but the timing of the release was quite nice, really, because it's just before all of this kicked off. So I guess it's given you a lot of time for it to bed in. So by the time you tour it, people will be familiar with it, which actually can be a really good thing.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's very true, yeah.
So is there anything that you've really missed about normal life? Anything in particular?
It's really weird because as an artist, I always avoided the normal. I guess we all did. What's normal for start? I think it's funny that people, when the normal is coming back and stuff, but what's normal? I mean, normal like a week ago, or like 2 years ago, or 10 years ago. I mean, this is not, for me, this doesn't make any sense. The kind of seeking that kind of normal vibe, whatever that is, So in art, especially, we change all the time. We make Sepultura every day. Nothing is for granted. Nothing is there for no reason. I mean, the past and the future, we deal in the present. Past is just an idea, and the future as well.
Yeah.
All that happens is here now, all the time, whatever time as well. Like we touched that subject a lot on Kairos and other albums and lyrics and stuff, because it is very important that it made Sepultura survive all these changes and all throughout these years, because we live the present. We work with the tools we have in our hands. I mean, I always call the MacGyver effect. You know, MacGyver has like a water and glue and, you know, whatever, a rope, and he can fly.
Yeah,
You know?
yeah, you're
He can
absolutely
really
right.
create
Do whatever
out of out of nothing, you know, and that's what art is all about. You know,
Yeah.
imagine the world without Picasso and the Beatles and Igor Stravinsky, you know,
Yeah.
Jimi Hendrix. I mean, we could be a lot worse,
Yeah.
you know, of what we're going through today, you know,
And without
art is
things like
really,
Eddie Van Halen as well, you know.
oh yes. I
Bad
mean,
news
it's
this
such
week.
a, when something like that happened, you start remembering, you know, when you first heard and all the situations in your life. And I didn't realize he was such a part of my life, you know, Edward Van Halen, as a guitar player, of course, you know, always as fashion, you know, I love the way he dressed, all the crazy stuff that Van Halen brought to the stage and all that stuff, you know. It's a fantastic privilege that we, you know, we lived in the same age as the
as
king.
all of these greats. Yeah, I
You
mean,
know?
I think I've been thinking that ever since, you know, the loss of David Bowie and Lemmy, and you know, the more we lose, the more we go. But we were privileged to be here during their time, and we can be grateful for that, can't we?
Definitely.
So, and there's me thinking you might say something like a cold pint or a meal in a restaurant, because that's what I miss the most about normal life.
Yes, yeah.
The simple
You can call
things.
that. Yeah, you can call that. I mean, that I miss a lot. You know, like backstage. You know, the concert. You know, talking to friends, and this is very brutal. You know, of course we have the internet and stuff, but it'll never be the same. You know, as the human interaction. And we talked about that on Machine Messiah even before the pandemic. You know, how people were so much inside an illusion, and they're losing time and energy with nature. You know, that's why our last video, Gardens of Earth, we touched that subject again, because we're destroying and keeping destroying nature for building and for profit and for, you know, all that stuff that is so immediate, but the consequences of their actions are forever, you know. So it's really something that the art or the music world, we have to always bring and use that tool, which is so powerful, you know, that reach so many people around the world to address that problem, you know.
No, absolutely. No, it's huge. You're right. And again, using music, I think, is a great way of communicating that sort of message and your passion for it as well. It's a really good way of bringing it to life and getting through to people. I think people who are in the arts do tend to care more about this sort of stuff. It just feels that way. Maybe that's just because that's who I'm connected with. But it does mean a lot. But okay, one more question about life at the moment. Have you? Obviously, you have been incredibly busy with the band, so there might not be an answer to this, but during the lockdown period, a lot of people have taken the time to master new hobbies, craft new skills. I baked a cake, for example. Is there anything that you've done that's just a little bit different and out there that you never bothered to do before?
Yes, I'm so happy in that respect, because I finally have time to build my R2D2 from Star Wars. It's an amazing I mean, robot. It is almost like the real thing, you know. I receive every month like pieces, you know, that comes by mail, and then I build by part. It's very detailed, and it takes a lot of time, but I can put my head somewhere else, you know. I used to love to build those warplanes, you know, when I was younger. And, you know, that's those models, you know, Ravel and stuff like that. And I kind of miss that, because I like puzzles, that kind of stuff, you know, that takes time, and you have to organize and really find the pieces, you know. I like that. I think it's a patience. And you deal with time in a different way, you know. I think you can bend and control a little bit stuff, and you put your head somewhere else, you know, which is very healthy, at least for me.
How big's the R2D2 going to be?
It's almost like a normal size. It's like
incredible.
You know, he's gonna throw the lightsaber from inside, you know, when Luke needs to kill Jabba the Hutt and stuff. He's gonna do that, you know. It's amazing. It's amazing.
I want to see it when it's done. Put it on social media.
It takes some time, it takes some time. It's like in the early stages, you know, but it's already looking great.
Amazing. Cool. Well, I'm going to talking about things that are a bit different, because this is in fact a Scarefest interview. So I said to you before we started, I've got some spooky questions for you that are Halloween themed. So hopefully these won't be too vexing, but I'll start simply. What's your favourite horror movie of all time, or the one that scares you the most? Either one.
Horror movie. There are a few. I like. I mean, the Shining. I think it's. I don't like too much gore movies. That. The cut pieces and too much blood and stuff. I mean, the blood on The Shining. It's so evil. Coming from the walls and stuff. You have the twins, and it's more like psychic.
It's more
the same as Clockwork Orange. Clockwork Orange. When you read the book from Anthony Burgess, it's very explicit. It's bones and eyeballs falling out of the face, and you see he talks about blood and sperm and all that stuff. It's very specific. But when you see Stanley Kubrick movie, it's much more psychic. You don't see blood, you don't see breaking bones and all the stuff, and that's very scary too. When you are locked somehow and they try to change your mind, by force.
Yeah, a bit more believable as well sometimes. It gets in your head, doesn't it?
Yes, exactly.
So it freaks you out more. Okay, then these are going to get a little bit sillier, but if you could, this is a silly one. If you could carve anyone's face into a pumpkin, who would you pick?
Carve a face. I think I love that official picture of the real Dracula, the from Romania.
Oh, that's a good idea.
He has that hat and stuff, and he was truly evil.
Yeah.
I think it's a very recognizable. It's a very recognizable face. It's like the photo that represents what he look like and stuff. And it's and if you know, of course, the story behind, it's very evil.
Well, there you go. There's another challenge for you then. But whilst you're in lockdown,
it'll be very difficult, I guess.
Yeah, I think you would. Yeah, I'm all about the challenges. Okay, then. Would you rather play a trick on someone or give someone a treat?
Treat all the time.
Very kind. That's very.
I mean, we are in the age of fake news. Enough of tricks and deceiving stuff. I mean, we really need to be true to ourselves, and that's sometimes very scary. But we have to face that.
Yeah, and it's nice to be kind, isn't it? So, all right, then I've got
Definitely.
some quick questions for you then. Clowns, cute or scary?
I don't care about clowns, actually. I don't think
Neither
they're either funny or scary.
No, that's fair enough. I think
It's
I'm
like-
the same, apart from the one in Stephen King's It, which is horrific. All right, spiders then, same question, cute or scary?
I love spiders.
Good, I'm glad to hear that. I do as
I
well.
really do. I love the webs they build and stuff, and I think they're beautiful. I like to observe that, and here in the concrete jungle in São Paulo, we have lots of them. Somehow, in different species and stuff. It's great. I love the shape and everything. Spider-Man is one of my favorite too.
Amazing. Good. And then ghosts, do you believe or not?
I'd rather not believe or nothing. I like to deal with concepts and balance with my experiences.
Yeah.
All the rest are just names and definitions that was not made by me. And I'm sure there are lots of energies and a lots of things going on that we cannot explain. And in the end, it doesn't need any explanation. You don't only need to feel. It's like music. You cannot explain music. Something that is there, and this is not a matter of believing, because you can believe in anything. You can believe on something that taught you in school, or if you saw a movie and if you saw a personification of a ghost or something, and you make links to that and you start believing in something. But I rather not really rely on belief and really experience and think about concepts, stuff like that, and because belief is kind of a trap as well, because once you believe in a concept, you have to feed that to make sense of your life, so, and and
It
not
can
all the
take you
time
down
that's
a rabbit
that's
hole,
the
can't
truth.
it? It can take you down a rabbit hole sometimes. You can end up believing whatever, especially now
Exactly.
you can find out
Yeah.
whatever you want on the internet, and you can believe anything
Yeah.
because the information's all there. All right, one final little question. What would it take to scare the shit out of you?
Wow. I better not answer that. I'll be fragile. I don't know. It's really hard. I don't know. You know, the situations that you scared, maybe on a plane sometimes, you know,
Yeah, that's
to
a
lose
good
your
one.
life, you know, and
Yeah.
stuff like that. But it's just momentums, you know, again, because of, you know, you don't even know what stats is all about. So what are you scared about, you know?
Yeah.
You're scared of losing something, you know, which is kind of selfish actually too. But yeah, it's just momentums. Like we went to South Africa, you know, to do safari and stuff, and you're outside of the car, and one of the sudden you see a family of elephants, and I don't know if it's scare, but it's just a new sensation, you know.
Yeah,
it's like a type of communication that you don't understand and the elephant is very aware you're there, and they're protecting its family and stuff. Don't get close, you know.
Yeah,
And it's fantastic, you know. But this is something very healthy too, you know. I think.
Maybe a giant ghost elephant then with a clown face and spider legs.
That's
for
sure.
Out of nowhere. That's the one.
Good one.
Well, listen, there end my silly questions, silly, spooky questions. So thank you, Andreas. It's been fantastic catching up with you. I could have definitely talked to you for a lot longer, but obviously we're doing a lot of interviews. We're playing footage as well alongside this. So we have to cut it a little bit short, but thank you very much. Thank you, everybody out there, for watching. I'm Kaz Parker with Andreas Kisser from the awesome Sepultura for our MMH and Nuclear Blast Scarefest.
Thank you.
Let's get this shit going.
You guys have a new album out, 15th of January 2021. And I've seen you guys do some pretty cool promotion actually on your website with the like kind of treasure hunt with the Undertaker.
Yeah. Cool, huh?
Who came up with that? Whose idea was that?
Well, we have a new management, and some people, I mean, they got together and we, I don't know who exactly hashed it out, but, we got a great team and somebody's idea. It must have been somebody's idea. It wasn't my personally. I can tell you that because I'm into it, but only like a limited bit.
Yeah.
I honestly, that stuff is happening so fast in the digital world. I have a hard time to keep up with all that stuff. And funny enough, I just went to Germany not too long ago to do some interviews, and they gave me a little sit down and educated me a little bit about the importance of all this kind of stuff and playlists and this and that. And I guess for the most part I understood it, but that doesn't mean I'm really like knee deep into it quite yet.
Yeah, no, it's it's just moving so rapidly, especially now. But would you mind?
I guess it's all about having the fans participate and getting everybody involved. So yeah, it's great. I love it.
and especially when they get to win a meet and greet.
Exactly. You got it for free. You got to meet me for free without any treasure hunt.
I did. So would you mind telling us a little bit about kind of the inspiration for the new album and kind of the ideas and concepts that kind of helped create it?
Yeah, I mean, there wasn't any special inspiration for for the album as such. It was just time to make a new album. So what do? You sit down and start writing some riffs. You start collecting some thought ideas, if you will. And, so yeah, each song is slightly different. And we've done what we've always done over the years with each album. We sort of look around in the world and we get inspired by what's happening or by things that happened in the past. So, and then we collect ideas, and that's how you build a song usually. Most of the songs sort of start with musical ideas where I sit down and start just riffing away until I got some stuff that I find interesting. And then the next step is to find some vocal ideas or some vocal thoughts, basically, some thoughts what this song could be about, And in the case of the already released song, The Undertaker, that was actually a song that started backwards. It started with the lyrics. Mark had just written these lyrics and gave them to me, and I wrote the music to it, which is kind of not the norm for us, but it works really well when it does.
Yeah, no, absolutely. You guys have quite a lot of festivals already booked for 2021, and I'm sure some of them have been rescheduled from this year, like many other bands have had to do. But
yeah,
sorry. So, what was going through your head really leading up to knowing that you had to postpone it all?
Oh, we were so bummed out, I can tell you. I mean, it was just like I said earlier, it's unprecedented. I mean, you get ready and you've got this schedule in your head that, okay, in June we're going to be busy, and in July and this and that. And all of a sudden everything gets worse and worse and it gets called off. And the next thing we knew, all right, the summer festivals of this year were all postponed 1 year. Then we were at least hoping for our headline tour in January, coinciding with the album release. We were like holding on and thinking, oh, it's got to get better by then. And hopefully we got some sort of plan of how to do these shows. Maybe if the vaccine isn't even there quite yet, but at least if everybody figures out a way, or it's going to go away by itself. I don't know, all kinds of things you're hoping for. And of course, all that hasn't happened yet. And now we've even had to push back with the album release tour from January 21 to January 22. So it's crazy. So everything pretty much was pushed back 1 year, and so.
Did COVID mean you had to post back the album release at all, or was it always going to be?
No, we decided to keep it. I mean, how far are you going to push it back? Because nobody knows when this whole thing is going to blow over. So we figured we stay with it, and then if the tour for it happens later, so be it. We can't. I don't know. We just got to roll with the punches and do what we can.
Yeah, definitely. Do you find that it's been quite a competitive market trying to get the bookings for next year? Because I'm sure there must be so many, not just music guys, but loads of people.
Yeah, it's gonna be a stampede. But by the time the doors open, it's gonna be crazy. I know that, or we all know that. Because everybody is, penned up and nobody can go anywhere. And then at some point when it's going to be go, then everybody wants to rush out on the road. Yeah. But if you really think about it, there might never be that day when it's all clear for everybody. It might be such a gradual thing that, certain countries are going to open up, certain cities are going to open up. They're not. They're going to be first. They're going to be last. So it might not be this universal stampede kind of event, where everybody runs like crazy. I don't know. No, I mean, these whole COVID times are so crazy that nobody's got a clear plan of how long it's going to last and what's going to happen when it's over, or is it ever going to be over? Who the hell knows at this point? It's nuts.
Yeah, it's kind of like we've got to wait and see, I guess.
Yeah.
So I've got to ask, because obviously it's our Scarefest for the station. Are you a Halloween fan?
No, not really. No, I guess it's more an American tradition. I mean, it's sort of. I mean, I'm from Germany, as you probably know. We never had Halloween over there. I think just recently, like everything from America, eventually finds its way to Germany. And the last 2 times that I was in the fall in Germany, I've seen Halloween decorations, and yeah. So no, I'm afraid it's not in my DNA. Really,
No.
the whole scare thing. No.
No, that's fine. Is there anything you do around this time of year anyway, or do you just kind of power it off it completely?
Yeah, I turn off the light and hopefully I hope that nobody shows up on my door trick or treating. That's
Yeah.
what I do.
All the blackout curtains.
No, just kidding. We sometimes do it. It depends. You know, if there's a lot of kids in the neighborhood, they sometimes show up, and you know, we always have a bucket full of junk food ready for them, like all the sweet stuff. I don't know. It's kind of a fun thing, but yeah. I guess if you don't grow up in it, it's sort of meaningless.
Yeah, no, I get that. Yeah, I think, yeah, like you say, it's just I had it when I was a kid, and it's just got from there. So.
But I tell you what, we did have. We had something which is kind of similar, where it was St. Martin time. It was the pre-Christmas time on a certain date. I think it was December 10th or around that time. There's a certain day when all the kids went from door to door and asked for candy, but they had to sing for it. So that's the difference. They had to actually perform and sing like a little Christmassy type song.
Oh, no way.
So that's what we used to do as kids. So to me, just to go to knock on somebody's door without performing seems like cheap. It's like, what do you mean trick or treat? Just, you know, do something for me. Exactly.
No, that's amazing.
Yeah, we used to have that in Germany, and I think it's still around. Yeah, it's an old tradition.
Yeah, that's amazing. Oh, thank you so much for taking the time to have a little chat with us today for our Scarefest, and I hope you enjoy the rest of your day or evening. Not sure what the time is where you are.
Thank you very much. I mean, it's still midday here, so.
Oh, okay, perfect.
Yeah, I'm in Nashville, Tennessee right now.
Oh, no way! You're in Nashville. That's awesome.
Yeah, it's where our headquarters is basically in Nashville. We have a studio here, and we come back here and we meet here and we rehearse. This is where we record the albums, and this is where we work. So it's the world headquarters of the gigantic Accept Corporation.
Nice, awesome. All right, well, thank you so much, and yeah, hope you enjoy the rest of your day.
You too. Take care.
Thank
Nice
you.
talking with you.
Bye.
Bye.
World around us frozen in terror. The bounds of power, a thing of the past. Every human is being abandoned. We're just drowning souls in a river of blood. What was built up in thousands of years, in just a moment destroyed. Have we lost all compassion and love? Cast our souls into the void. If you live by the sword, you will die by the sword. world of darkness. It's kill and be killed from the day we are born. We're an evil seed from the soul of the serpent. An evil breed in a valley of thorns. What was built up in thousands of years, in just a moment destroyed. And we lost our compassion and love. Cast ourselves into the void. If you live by the sword, you will die by the sword. If you live by the sword, you will die by the sword. Warriors, God and sky. What's this mindless desire for blood? And stop this endless crusade. Put down the music and lay down the steel. Save our children from the blade. If you live by the sword, you will die by the sword. If you live by the sword, you will die by the sword.
Hi, I'm Kaz Parker for MMH, the home of rock radio, with the amazing and beautiful Doro Pesh. Thank you.
Hi guys. Great to be on board.
Yeah, I'm super excited to have you here on Zoom as part of our Scarefest for Halloween, which is our exclusive partnership with Nuclear Blast. So thank you for catching up with me. And the first thing I wanted to ask you, because it's Halloween, so this is all about scary times. So I was just wondering, how are you finding life at the moment with the big bad virus spoiling all the fun?
Oh man, that's really scary. That's really Halloweenish. Yeah, we wanted to tour all over the world, and of course everything got cancelled. And yeah, and we did a couple of shows, some drive-in shows, auto-kino shows. It was actually fun, but it was scary as well, because sometimes you couldn't hear anybody. Everybody was stuck in their cars, and sometimes it was not allowed to even roll down your window. So it was like, man, sometimes it was dead silence, but everybody said after the show, man, we had so much fun. one time I went into the audience, like with distance, and then I could feel everybody's really excited and happy. But it is hard to perform on a stage when fans are so far away, when they're in their cars. But some shows were better than others, and I would definitely, it's definitely better than nothing. Like, playing live is always, an adventure. So it was a big challenge, but we had, a lot of fun. And since nothing else worked, so that was actually pretty good. I was happy that we even could get that chance.
Yeah, and I saw it live streamed actually, and it did look really good because I saw you going out and going in between all the cars.
Yes,
it looked amazing.
Yeah,
we were going to go.
I couldn't take it anymore, like being stuck on stage and then, having nobody in front of me. And then when we played All We Are, I thought, I want to go down. And then I could really feel the fans that were like rocking out. And then we got so many phone calls from other promoters or people who owned a drive-in and Autokino. And then I said, you want to do a show here? We never did a show before, but let's try it. We thought, okay. So, and sometimes it was amazing. And yeah.
Well, I'm glad you got to do it because there were a load of them scheduled across the UK for various bands, and all of them got pulled. It never happened. And I think maybe the infrastructure was too expensive. Maybe it didn't sell well. I don't know. But I was looking forward to just doing something, like you say, something's better than nothing. But no, I'm glad you managed to do that. And I can see that you've got a tour planned next year, so April to November. Presumably, part of what you're looking forward to would be going out and touring after you release. What I can see is coming up, which is very exciting, but your new release, Magic Diamonds. So November 13th, a 56-track, no less, compilation of rock ballads and rare treasures. So tell us all about that.
Yeah, actually, I have a test pressing here. Maybe I can show it in the camera. That's the one. That's the one. And it has it has 3 CDs. And while we couldn't tour and didn't do anything live-wise, I went back into the studio. I'm writing songs for a new record, which will come out via Nuclear Blast, I think next year, I hope. And then, these songs are all like collections of like stuff which I didn't play live in a long time. Some stuff we have never played, and some really rare special tracks like demos, which I think sound even better than the actual recordings on the records, and some really deep cuts. And there are 18 ballads, 18 rare treasures, like these things what I think fans will like the most, the diehard fans, and 20 rock songs and rock and metal songs. And that's coming out on the 13th of November. I can't wait. And we have a little perfume, so I think that's really Halloweenish. I just got them tuned, and that's like Little Sky. That's for girls. And we have another smell for men as well. So it's a smell, a perfume for ladies. And then I thought I only want to do it for ladies. And then all the men in the office, I said, we need some too. So we did both, and they're in this limited edition. And it's all coming out on vinyl. I'm a big vinyl lover. I love old school stuff. So there are 2 double vinyl in color.
Does this come with the limited release as well?
Yes. And it's there's some other goodies in it, like a scarf, but the 2 smells you can pick or choose or give it to your girlfriend or your boyfriend, and I think it smells really nice.
Can we pre-order now?
Sorry?
Can we pre-order now? Is it on your website?
Yeah, it's on our website or Facebook or Instagram. Yeah, we just got the links, and I just got the test pressing. It sounds good. It's all good. That's always there because I formed my own label, and I got about 10 records back. Like we got the rights back to 10 CDs and DVDs. It was while I was in SPV and AFM, and I thought, that's really sad when nobody can get these records anymore. So we formed our own label, or I formed my own label. It's called Rare Diamonds Productions, and but the new stuff will always be on Nuclear Blast, and there's Magic Diamonds has a lot of live stuff which we were mixing, re-recording, and then I could really tell you that broke my heart when I saw, like, when I felt the atmosphere of last year, when everything was normal and, like 10,000 people going crazy, headbanging, singing along. And yeah, so we picked the best ones to remix. And yeah, I hope it will get back to normal eventually. But yeah, we're all in this together. So
we are, absolutely. And it's great to see how busy you are as well. And it does give you that chance to do some more writing. So
yeah.
How are you finding, are you I mean, I know you guys all live in different countries anyway, so has it been much different with writing now? Is there anything different for you guys working together, or is it just, or is the current way of life, is that influencing anything that you're writing at all?
Yeah, actually, we got lucky. We prepared ourselves already last year. We did many things, and recording all together at the moment, it's impossible to be all in one place, in one studio. Live, there was a problem too, because our bass player Nick, he couldn't fly into Europe, and sometimes our Italian guitar player Luca, he couldn't go to other places. We played festivals in Sweden, so we had to get somebody else from Brazil, actually, Bill Hudson, great guitar player. But yeah, sometimes you have to be flexible, and it's the same in the studio. So we're working on something, but it's not the same. That's the reason why I think it will take a little longer. Yeah. And I love like that energy and feeling when we're all together. Yeah. And of course you can send files back and forth, but it's not, I think it has not the same depth, not the same power, not the same energy. So but we're still working on it, and yeah, and of course it has to be great. So we're thinking about how we can do it and manage. And and luckily one guy fell in love in the Netherlands. So my friend Harry, he's from New York, but he's now living in the Netherlands, so we could like get together. Not anymore though, they changed it last couple of days. Everything's closed down. Yeah, in Germany you can't even go from one city to the other. That got changed a couple of days ago. So it's really crazy. It's crazy.
Things are changing all the time over here as well, and it's hard to even keep up with what the rules are. But you're right, we're having some cities locked down and stuff. So but like you say, I mean, you have kept yourself really, really busy. You've got stuff going on, you've got writing going on, you've been able to do some gigs, which is amazing. You update on social media all the time, which is brilliant. So I was going to ask you if there's anything, is there anything you've done during this time? Because it has, I suppose a lot of people feel it's given them a bit more time and space to do things, and they've maybe been filling that time with stuff they've never done before. Have you done anything different? Any strange new hobbies or skills you've picked up?
Yeah, actually, I love animals so much, and I'm always, trying to, to help where I can. Like I love dog shelters, and then I got in touch with this is a very cool lady, and she takes care of horses. They're race horses, ex-race horses, and when you look behind the scenes, sometimes it's terrible. Like these horses, they are racing, they give their whole life, they make a lot of money for the owner sometimes, and then after, they have only a short period where they race. It sometimes they start with 1 year old, they're like babies, and 2, 3, 4, and by 5 years old they're already too old for racing. So there's this lady, she takes care of ex-race horses, and I help her, and and I go there all the time when I have time. I don't have much time, but I go there. And last time I was there, and I was like, there was this one horse which inspired me so much. I think they are sometimes, even the better humans sometimes. And then I thought, I was driving in my car, and I thought about all these beautiful creatures. And then I thought, I definitely want to write a song for the next album. And the work title is Heavenly Creatures. So I'm just working on that. And it was all inspired by the animals. And
that is really lovely. And you know what? You have to embrace it and look for the positives and do something positive as well. And it's lovely. And it's things like that. And like you say, helping ex-race horses, because they do need it, and it's so sweet. And there's animals.
Yes. I mean, I love all kinds of animals. It doesn't matter,
No.
Some animals, they are more like, close to us, but even some animals which people eat, I love them too, and I always try to, to help, and and I but that's one song which will definitely wind up on the new record, not on the Magic Diamonds, but that's very important to me.
And we'll all know, all of us who've watched this and me, we'll all know exactly what that relates to after watching this interview, so that's something to look forward to. So that's cool.
Nice.
Right, I'm going to ask you some spooky questions now, as this is all about, well, this is going out on Halloween for Halloween, for Scarefest. So got some fairly silly questions and some Halloweeny questions. I'm going to start with the easy one. Do you have a favourite horror movie of all time, or maybe just the scariest one that you've ever seen?
Yeah, it's actually the scariest one is called Midnight Express. It starts out very harmless, oh God, and then they're like two American, there's a couple and they go to Turkey, and then this one guy is smuggling a little marijuana, and then the story starts and he gets put in jail, and it's a horror story. And I lived right where this real person, it's a real life story. It was in Long Island, New York, and the guy, he lived like close to me, and it was even more horrifying in real life than it was in the movie. But the movie is already hardcore. It's from the 80s and it's called Midnight Express. So if you really want to get scared, I think, because it feels so real too.
That's a good recommendation. I haven't seen it. I've heard of the film and I haven't actually seen it. So I definitely will get onto that before Halloween, or if not on Halloween. I'm sure it will be Netflix or something. I'm definitely putting that on my list on your recommendation, Doro. So, okay then, would you rather play a trick on someone or give someone a treat?
Give someone a treat.
I knew you'd say that because you're so kind.
Yeah. I want to make people happy, of course.
Yeah. No, that's cool. All right, there's some silly questions for you now then. Clowns, do you find clowns cute or scary?
Scary, man. Yeah. I'm not a big fan of clowns, but I mean, they're good clowns as well, make you feel good. Usually I'm not a big fan, no.
No, in the main, scary, absolutely. All right, then, same question about spiders. Cute or scary?
Oh, scary. Yeah. I guess I'm a real girl. I can touch them, and when they are in the tour bus or in where I live or in a hotel, oh God, I always get a tough guy, to remove that thing. But not to kill, not to kill him, but just take them out of my sight. No.
Absolutely. All right, then, what about witches then? Do we think they're sexy or weird?
Witches, I like, and for me it was, of course, I have a good connection to that because our first album was called Burning the Witches. It was in 1983, 84, and we had no idea that it would do anything, and then it became really successful, and there was the start of something really good. So and I like, of course, the white witches. I like positive, good energy. So not the evil kind of.
Absolutely. I definitely think in the main sexy, probably not that one out of Yellow. What I'm trying to say, Yellow Brick Road, but the one that the bad one. Apart from her, they're all lovely. They're all sexy. So, and then final question. Well, not final question. Penultimate question. Ghosts. Do you believe in ghosts or not?
Oh, actually, I saw one and it scared me to death. And it was actually a very, very heavy experience because it was 1995. I was in New Jersey and we were just working on another record. And I was laying down on the sofa just to take a little rest. And my engineer, and we were friends as well, he was laying down on the sofa as well. And we thought, okay, let's take a little break. Let's take a little nap. And then suddenly my eyes popped open. And I thought, wow, something, you could feel when there's something going on. And I looked into the corner, nothing. And then suddenly, out of nothing, something developed, and it was a real ghost. And this thing came close to my sofa, to my bed, and looked at me. And I thought, this is the last day of my life. And it was so scary. And I felt there was real evil intention. And it looked like, it looked like the Grim Reaper. And then I was paralyzed because I was so scared. I couldn't do anything. Just my eyes could roll up and down. And luckily, my friend, my engineer, Mike is his name, he got up too, he felt it too, and then he was screaming and yelling and waving his hand, and said, oh, get out, get out. And then after 2 minutes, it just dissolved again. And it was the color of smoke, like gray, white, a little dark, but it was scary as hell. It was nothing good. I wish I could have seen an angel, but I didn't. I always felt angels, but I saw a real ghost, 95, and it was not good. It was not good.
No. Well, that probably answers my next question, but I'm going to ask it anyway, because this is my final question. What would it take to scare the shit out of you? And it sounds like that already did.
Yeah. Something from another dimension, which you can't control, which you can't handle, which you don't know what's going on. And when I was first in New York, it was 1987. I moved to New York, and I had this producer, Joey Ballin was his name. We did some great songs together. We did the Triumph and Agony album together, and we always played the Ouija board. And I never believed in it, but then one day, I said, hey, Joey, now, ask the guy or whatever it is, ask the spirit, if he can play a little thing on the piano, because we had a little piano in the corner. And Joey said, oh, I don't know if you can do it. You have to be really respectful. And I said, well, I want to know if it's real and stuff. So he said, okay, dear spirit, please, make yourself known. Maybe you play a little note. Maybe you hit a little thing on the piano. And then there was dead silence. And I thought, okay, you see, nothing's going to happen. And next to the piano, there was a steel guitar. And nobody ever played it. It was just there for looks. It was a very expensive thing. And suddenly somebody or something did like toot. And I was screaming, running out of the apartment. We had some candles on, of course. The candles were flying. The whole place almost burned down. And that was the last time that I played the Ouija board. So stuff like that really can scare me. Yeah. I had my share.
Yeah, that is incredible. Oh, well, you know what? We probably have to wrap up now, which is such a shame, because I could probably talk to you for a lot longer. In fact, we have before, and I'm sure we could again. But just to kind of, because we've got a lot of interviews that we're doing, so we're having to keep them quite short, sadly. So thank you so much, Doro, for catching up with me. It has absolutely been awesome. So I'll just finish by saying I'm Kaz Parker for MMH, the home of rock radio, for our partnership with Nuclear Blast for Scarefest, with the absolutely incredible and adorable Doro Pesch. Thank you.
Oh, thank you so much, guys. All the best. Lots of love.
Raise your fist in the air! Hey, hey, hey! I feel it in the air. Feel it's life is so unfair. Where you want me to instead of it? No more will levitate. Right is right against the shade. Gotta kill the beast. Fight while you're alive. I love you guys. Raise your fist in the air. Raise your fist. Raise your hands up high. Hands up high. Raise your fist in the air. Raise your fist. We are out of the fire. Raise your fist in the air. Raise your fist. Raise your hands up high. Hands up high. Raise your fist in the air. Raise your fist. We are out of the fire. Yeah. Hey, hey, hey. I'll fight until I die. Fight this fight to stay alive. In my heart, I know I'll be alright. I know it's up to me. Texas crime on line of feet. Can we take it never hand in hand? Fight there while you're alive. Raise your fist in the air. Raise your fist. Raise your hands up higher. Hands up high. Raise your fist in the air. Raise your fist. We are out of the fire. Raise your fist in the air. Raise your fist. Raise your hands up higher. Hands up high. Raise your fist in the air. Raise your fist. We are out of the fire. Yeah. Hey, hey, hey. Raise your fist. Raise your hands up higher. Hands up high, come on. Raise your fist in the air. Raise your fist. We are heart of the fire. Raise your fist in the air. Raise your fist. Raise your hands up higher. Hands up high. Raise your fist in the air. Raise your fist. We are heart of the fire. Raise your fist in the air. Raise your fist. Raise your hands up higher. Hands up higher. Raise your fist in the air. Raise your fist. We are heart of the fire. Raise your fist in the air.
I understand that you guys are going to be touring with Beyond the Black next year. Has it been difficult to book the tour? Has it been quite competitive?
That's a very good question, because first of all, we decided to reschedule the tour kind of quick, because we figured that, yeah, this seems like a little bit uncertain, so to speak. So we decided to do it quick because we knew that other bands wants to book the venues, of course, when everybody's allowed to tour again. But I'm not sure if we were maybe a little bit too positive about that decision, because we are not sure yet if April is kind of soon. It doesn't feel like it, but for musicians, it's like very soon. And I don't know. Now it feels like a little bit critical. Like I always try to be positive and think like, yeah, everything is going to be back to normal already next year. But looking at the situation and how long time it would take to actually get a vaccine out and to have everybody take it, I am a little bit nervous about having a tour already in April, that all these things have happened. So I can't say for sure that it's going to happen anymore. And then we're going to be in a different situation, of course, where we need to reschedule until when we know it's safe to tour. And I don't know if we want to take that risk again, booking venues and selling tickets and keeping the hopes up for our fans and ourselves also, of course. And then we have to cancel again. So then I don't know, but it's definitely true that by the time we can tour for sure, it's going to be a very high competition to get those places to play at. And it's going to be a very interesting development to see what's going to happen, actually.
Yeah, because I mean, when you think about it, I mean, you think about how many rock and metal bands, but then you even think how many other genres and how many comedians, orchestras,
yes,
everything.
Exactly. Exactly, and everybody would want to go out ASAP. I mean, after all this waiting. So that's the thing. Like, we don't even know if everybody can come out and play immediately, or maybe it's going to be a waiting time for like another year. So yeah. But like always, I'm personally trying to not think too much about it, because then I will only get crazy, sad, or something. Take like one day at a time, and let's see what happens. And luckily, we released an album recently, and we're so happy about that now, especially because we can enjoy, the feedback and follow every happening very closely, because we don't have other things to do. So that's really nice. And also, we've been talking about maybe do something else with the band, like a cover album. And I was thinking like maybe I should just start a YouTube channel or something, because I haven't really had time for that. But I've seen a lot of YouTubers and like reaction videos and stuff like this. I love to watch those. And I saw also Floor and Hannes from Flo Jansen and Hannes, they did their own like TV show.
Oh, cool.
Or YouTube show. It's super fun. They like, I don't know, it's just, yeah, music is, you can make music anytime. It's the only thing you need for that is time, actually. So we can still at least stay creative, which is a good thing.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of metal and rock artists start doing streaming on like Twitch.
Oh yeah, exactly.
So I mean, yeah, I think it's definitely pushed a lot of people to try and go for a new direction. But yeah, so I really feel for you guys, because I'm sure that because like you said, your new album Manifest, you'd want to be playing that. That would be the next step for you guys, wouldn't it?
Yes, I mean, it's also very much written as live music. So that was also very typical. It's like, okay, yeah, well, now we wrote songs that we felt like, yeah, very much inspired by live atmospheres and how cool it could sound in a big venue, you know, this kind of instrumental parts and also like singing ways, and then we're not able to do that, so of course it sucks.
Yeah, absolutely. Would you mind telling us a bit about maybe like the ideas behind the album?
Oh yeah, sure. I mean, it's a little bit funny because the idea originally was to obviously do something different but still kind of find the core, like we already started to think about when we wrote the previous album Helix, but then just try to focus to put stuff together even even better. And but then we went on tour with Sabaton and Apocalyptica, and that was such a big extreme, it was just like a endorphin adrenaline boost for like a month. And when we came home, we were in a totally different state of mind. So we wrote actually a lot of songs after we came back home from the tour with them, which inspired our sound, obviously, and our songwriting. And also, it's a little bit funny because then halfway through, bands started to cancel their tours because there was this crisis coming. And then, of course, that also inspired our songwriting. And the song Viral and Boom came together based on the situation, obviously, and also Crystalline and I said Archangel, did I? Archangel. No, I didn't. Yeah, it's just also Elevate. That was also like they created from the situation we were in, or like basically just the overall environmental world mood, because nowadays it feels more like it's one world with one mood because everybody's in the same situation, and that kind of inspired our songwriting, obviously, and also the whole recording and it's always been like that. I think when other people were, if you have a overall mood in the world where people are very pessimistic, for example, you want to make fun music because you want to be the antidote for that, or the stuff that compensates for things missing. And or you want to make more soft songs with, if you feel like there is a harsh overall mental, how do I say it in English? Mental. I don't know if you know what I mean, but
yeah, I know.
If we kind of sense what's going on, and then of course it happened, all these terrible things with all the fires, where you could see like the whole environmental issue, and then it made us feel like, okay, but now we really cannot just have fun and write party songs anymore, or talk about cyberspace and things like this, but we want to really, get that out of ourselves. And also then the corona crisis, of course. And so that's what's going on, and how do we feel about it, and how you also treat yourself in situations like that.
Yeah, no, that's really awesome. And I really like the artwork that you guys have kind of built up around the new album as well.
And
yes, thank you.
the vinyls, they're really pretty as well. And I was like, oh, I love vinyls. So, sorry.
Thanks. Yeah, I also started to love vinyl. That's something I have time for now. I can actually start to collect vinyls.
Yes, yeah. And I've found that cassette tapes are making a comeback too.
Really?
Like so many bands are selling cassettes, and I'm like,
that's so cute.
I'm so excited.
Yes. Oh God. I remember those times as well. I'm kind of happy I do actually. There were so many funny changes going on there, like from the vinyls to the cassettes to the CDs, which was so modern at the time, right? You're like, whoa, it's shining. It's like it's so flat. What's this? Yeah. It's like a DVD, you know. But yeah, when the DVD came from the VHS,
yeah,
God, that was also like, what is this? This is so modern. Yeah,
it was.
So it's kind of fun that it's coming back.
Yeah, it was a pinnacle point when they stopped making cars with cassette players in.
Oh yes. Yes, exactly. You're like, oh my God, and it was like sucking in the CD. You're like, whoa, it's digital. It's so cool. And also then you had this, what was that again? The little squared things that you put in. That they didn't have a very long career. Was it the
music players?
Yeah.
Yeah, like the portable ones.
Yeah, but it was like a disc, like a disc.
Yeah, yeah,
like
I know
desk.
what you mean. Yeah.
What was those called again? Well, they didn't have a long career.
No,
they came fast, and because I think the quality was too bad, right? I mean, I have recorded all my vocal classes back during my education on these things, and then my player broke, and now they don't sell it anymore, so I can never hear those recordings again. That's how I feel. So I'm trying. But maybe there is someone selling them somewhere. And that's why I'm trying to figure out what they were called, but I can't remember it right now. Disc something. Whatever. Sorry.
No, that's fine.
Interview.
We'll think of it. So I've got to ask, because it's our Scarefest, do you like Halloween?
Oh, I really do, yes.
Yeah.
Yes. I love to get dressed. Obviously, to dress out, like to put makeup and stuff, and also I love all the Halloween movies. I think they're awesome.
Are there any that you like have to watch every time Halloween comes around? Are they like, it's not Halloween unless I watch these?
But I love that the one with the three witches.
Hocus Pocus.
Hocus Pocus, yes. I love that.
Me too. I still remember like so vividly when I was a kid, my mum sitting me down for the first time to watch it, and I was like, what is this film? And then by the end of it I was like, this is amazing.
Yeah, they're so cool, those three chicks. So I'm looking forward, but unfortunately I have to say, like, Halloween is not that big in Sweden. But we did spend one Halloween in the United States, and there it was really big. It was crazy.
Oh,
how is
so
it in
big.
the UK?
I would say it's not as big, but it's still, you know, celebrated. People still like dress up and put pumpkins out outside the house and stuff. But it was definitely developed over here like a lot later, so we don't have as much good things.
Yeah, okay.
But yeah, so I'm a pumpkin carver myself.
Really?
Yeah,
nice.
That's my one thing I like doing every year.
Cool. If I would have a house, I would do it too. Or what do you mean? Do it like a costume as a pumpkin, or do you mean you carve them?
Carve, yeah, carve them, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so pumpkin carver. Okay, I saw a pumpkin today in the store. I was thinking maybe I should do that. Maybe I should try.
Yes.
Things you can enjoy when it's Corona and we're not on tour. So yay.
Yeah.
That's yeah.
It's gonna be a shame because we don't have any trick-or-treaters this year because of coronavirus.
Yay. That's true.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I didn't even think about that. There's so many things changing for just one little virus, right?
I know, it's so rad. Right, do you want to have a last quick sign-off message for any of the fans that would be watching?
Yes. Well, I mean, stay safe and stay strong and positive is a good thing. Like, enjoy the small things and be creative and listen to Manifest, our album. Yeah, just stay awesome, basically.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
That's my message.
Yeah, thank you so much for taking the time to speak with us, and I hope you enjoy the rest of your day, whatever time it might be.
Yes, it's 1 hour away from you guys, so it's 8:30.
Oh, okay, so that's not too bad.
No, it's 7:30 at your place.
Yeah.
Huh? Okay, no, but it's super nice to speak to you. I'm sorry about the background. I didn't really choose it, but it came up automatically.
It's fine. It works.
And also, you have a nice Halloween then.
Yes, you too. I'll be watching Hocus Pocus at some point. So.
Oh, me too. I know it's somewhere. I don't remember if it was Netflix, but whatever. It's I think Netflix.
I think so.
But I will watch it too, and I will think about you then.
Oh, thank you. Bye.
Okay, but thanks for talking to me.
Yeah.
And if anybody remembers what those desks are called, please send me a message. Send me a DM on social media.
Yes. Thank you.
Squared ones. Thank you. Take care.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
We live in a world of deception, on an earth that is going under. Like we left all the truth and the fiction, we're turning the wrong direction. I know we cannot bring the sounds back, never do accept one voice. We are not alone, as the tunnel this is going viral. No, in the light of the screen you hide, from the pain that you feel inside. No one cares when we go down, going up, going viral. Holes, like a ball in a long, long line. The virus spreads inside. No one's there when we go down. Going up, going viral. We are born to abide from inception in a world that has lost our wonder. Look around, then you see it's the doubt that we face extermination. I know we shall take the power back. The opponents have no choice. We're all apart when the tunnel this is going viral. Now, in the light of the screen you hide, from the pain that you feel inside. No one cares when we go down. Going up, going viral. Holes, like a pawn in a long, long line. As the virus spreads inside, no one's there when we go down. Going up, going viral. I wanna play your sentence on you. In the light of the screen you hide, going viral. Now the virus spreads inside you. Like a pawn in a long, long line, going viral. Like a pawn in a long, long line. As the virus spreads inside, no one's there when we go down. Going up, going viral. In the light of the screen you hide, the pain that you feel inside. No one cares when we go down. Going up, going viral. Holes, like a pawn in a long, long line. As the virus spreads inside, no one's there when we go down. Going up, going viral.
So Lexi Francis here of Tuesday evening's Raw Breakers show on MMH, the home of rock radio. And I'm now joined with Sabian of Alpha Wolf for our Scarefest 2020. So Sabian, welcome.
Hello.
You're a fairly fresh band, so you formed back in 2013. So talk me through the history of how Alpha Wolf formed.
Alpha Wolf was formed with the current bass player and myself. He used to be on vocals, but we've chopped and changed our sound a bit to kind of finesse where we want to be with our sound. We started in a small town in Tasmania, just looking to have a bit of fun and rip some gigs together. We were like best friends at the time, jamming at school, and a couple of kids with hopes and dreams. We kind of moved away from Tasmania because it was very small for the music scene, ventured into Melbourne, which has one of the world's best music scenes, and just kept going, kept pushing, kept working hard, and we've ended up in a very cool spot.
So what's been probably the biggest highlight for you as a group?
Touring internationally, I'd say. We started off with small goals, and that was to play a show interstate, to drive 8 hours for a show. And we toured all of Australia countless times now. And the big one for any Australian band is to tour internationally. And we've done that a couple times now, and every time it's awesome.
Cool. So your releases have always been quite personal and based around kind of taboo topics. So you touch on depression and being open about failing at things. Why are these topics important to you to get across through your music?
I guess that's something we started touching on after like a rocky 1 or 2 EPs that we put out very early on, and around the time we started touching on it, my mother passed away, and it just seemed right at the time to express how I felt. I kind of slowed down on the riff writing and the music writing and was just writing lyrics and stuff like that. And I found an outlet through that, and I think it made us a stronger band and made us connect to fans more. And we kind of got a taste for that when traveling around playing those songs, having fans come up, tell us that the songs mean something to them, and we'd never had that before, and we're like, oh, all right, we're kind of doing something cool here. So we've stuck at that, and as time's gone on, luckily no one close to any of us has passed away, and we seem to be doing pretty good for ourselves. So the lyrics aren't as sad as they were. We're just staying honest to ourselves with our lyric writing though. So anything relevant that's going on in our lives, we'll probably touch on.
So it's things that are relatable.
Yeah, exactly.
Awesome. And you've just released your second album, So A Quiet Place to Die, and you've released this on a gorgeous white and purple smoke vinyl. So can you talk me through the decision making with that and why you wanted it on such a specific format?
Luckily our labels, both Grayscale and Sharptone, they're really on board with letting us go wild with our artwork and branding and everything like that. So we had the artwork done by a good friend of mine. He's normally a bit of a hip hop artist and stuff like that. So it's the first time he's ever touched anything heavy music related. And he's used such an extensive color palette on his artwork that we wanted to make sure all the vinyl looked really good for that. Near one of those was incorporating the purple that kind of looks like the butterflies on the front cover. And we haven't seen that yet in real life. It's still stuck on a ship somewhere, but hopefully it comes out sick.
So you always tend to release things on a sexy looking vinyl of some sort.
Yeah. As soon as we got a taste for it, I'm a bit of a hoarder myself. I collect CDs, vinyl, and all that stuff. So it feels good for myself to hold it and have a couple copies and stuff like that. And the fans seem to really enjoy that as well.
So again, it's having that engagement and seeing what your fans enjoy as much as you, and having that relatable experience.
So the hardcore fans, they'll collect like anything we do. So I think there's about 7 different color variations of the record out there now, and we're just trying to make them all look as awesome and cool as possible, but within the color palette of the front artwork.
I absolutely love it. I was looking through and I thought, absolutely stole my heart with it. So we can't ignore, obviously, the current situations happening worldwide with coronavirus and the current pandemic. You've actually launched a Patreon page. So for those that don't know a lot of information about it or where they can find it, can you just give a bit more information on it?
Yeah, I think Patreon has been a little shunned upon in the past, especially for bands, because it sometimes comes across as trying to make a quick buck, and that's not the reason we're in it whatsoever. I personally like do a lot of photography and videography, so I'm always carrying around like GoPros and cinema cameras with me whenever we travel. So I kind of film everything we do behind the scenes, taking photos. I film all of our sets, like we film every single set so that we can watch them back the night after to see if there's anything we can improve on. So I've got all these hard drives of archived footage that isn't quite professional enough for our YouTube to be public, but we know there's fans out there that will appreciate getting to watch that sort of footage. So that's one perk. We also are finally giving out like the tabs for our music so people can learn the songs as they were written, as well as giving out like instrumental versions. We've got a Discord set up so we can talk one-on-one to all of our fans, and then everyone that signs up, and then all the Alpha Wolf fans can talk to each other and relate to each other and stuff like that. So we're building a little community within our fan base, and all the perks are pretty cheap, I'd say, for what you're getting, and it's definitely giving us something to do to keep active during this COVID time, especially with no touring and stuff like that. The money helps. We've never made a cent personally from the band, and we're 7 years deep now. We've traveled a fair bit, but every single cent we've ever gotten for the band is put back into the band to keep the train rolling, and so we can do bigger, better things the next time anything comes around. So yeah, it's cool to be able to see a bit more of an income with this. But again, it's more so for the community, for us to showcase everything that I've got piled up from the years. And yeah, we're dating everything back to the very early days from footage I've deleted off the internet that I never wanted anyone to see. I'm just letting everyone have a look at everything, and it's been cool so far. I'm really supportive from everyone, and everyone seems to be loving the content that we've put in so far.
Amazing. So people want to check that out. Where can they go and see it?
Patreon.com/Alpha Wolf Cult, but we like to spell cult with a V because it looks cooler.
It does look cooler. I like it. And for 2021, obviously tours and everything are on hold currently, but you have just released this second album. What can we look forward to for next year?
We hope some touring, but I think we're a bit more realist. We're not thinking we're about to start touring in 6 months or anything like that. It's definitely going to start small, so we'll be playing some smaller stuff around Australia, hopefully. But we should be able to get into the content making realm once our drummer can fly down to Melbourne, because he's in another state. He's in Queensland. Yeah, if we can see each other and film some stuff together, there might be some cool live stream stuff. And when tours can happen, they will happen.
So watch this space.
Yeah, literally. We're taking it day by day. We're trying to keep our hopes up. We're in a shithouse time, but we're just doing what we can to stay relevant. We'd love to play the new album live, but at this rate, who knows?
Yo, Sydney, what the fuck is up? Move this shit the fuck in! This is Alpha Wolf! Show me something! Everybody wants to talk, but they never listen! Licensing in every fucking thing! You turn your back! Just get my eyes! I'm down on some vibrant! Yeah, face and fast! Battle to the eye! I will never lie! This time I have to deny myself! I will never, I will! Burning! Don't return to life, to life, then mine! I'm gonna ride the wounds with every inch of vomit! Show me a fucking two-step! I fuck that! It's not enough! It never will be! Never give what your hands are still dirty! I lie on the rusty bed of nails, and you still walk over me! Where the fuck am I at right now? You've been dead weight, constricted my chest, only the lonely. Oh, you're my name! Oh, little places, I hope you're satisfied. Looking for answers, but you can't even. Oh, you're my name! Oh, little places, and I will see this through. So motherfucker, you can bear what I'm talking to you. Go, 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 go. It's time to shake the rust off the the English, but you will remember me. How many times do I have to cry out before this is found? And how many times did I stand by your fucking side? Never was, never will be. You're abandoned me! Fucking abandoned me! We're gonna do this one more fucking time! You know the words? I wanna hear it! Dead weight, constricted my chest, all in the left! Oh, you're my name! I don't play safe, I hope you're satisfied. Looking for answers, but you can't even look the others. Oh, you're my name. I don't play safe, that's how I'll see this through. Hey yo, when this shit kicks in, spin this fucking room! Spin this fucking room! Watch out, let go! Back, back! Bob and enough! That's Bob! Bob and the beat of my dad! Go! Not side, but like a bitch and it's got me in ya! Fuck you, so good! You're the one! Wait a time! I won't wait tonight! That's not until this all requited love! I wish the best for you, my dear, but you will never find that here. Sydney! You'll have to cross your hands, taking it to you know what the fuck to do! It's not the sound, motherfuckers! Take a big which one will you do? I'm gonna bring the shit to me! Drop down so where to go between the roads and the railroad! Sandy! The girl, look at the gun with world. Loneliness is a hell of a job enough. I just don't get enough. Spirit breaker, tell me your favor. Inside, I'm more than a man. What a mess of a lover. Got me. understand. Tell me, how am I at? Tell me, how am I at? You can't do this. And I had to leave. Do me a favor. Everybody go. Everybody up the top of your fucking bedroom! Every motherfucker in this room, bang your fucking head! You didn't make your card! Everybody up, go! What is this road inside your head? Suck your back! But it's fine! And you're on to burn! You just got your eye! But I can see the crack! You don't go rot in your teeth when you keep running your mouth! You don't go rot in your teeth when you keep running your mouth! You don't go rot in your teeth when you keep running your mouth! You don't go rot your teeth! Alright, who's the best two-stepper in this room? Sony! Southwest outside! USA with that, yeah! From the building top down on the deck! That rational, you'll never have that! Obsession, the river you drowned in! Bitch! Diversion! Diversion! Everybody get the fuck up! I got balls to back! Life and death, look at the shit! Why I'm not enough! I got balls to back! Look at the shit, boy! I'm not enough! You don't go out to get it when you keep running your mouth! You don't go out to get it when you keep running your mouth! You don't go out to get it when you keep running your mouth! You don't go out to play! You are not a fucking victim! You are just a shell of what you think is a human! A desperate parasite forever weeping and crying for attention! You! Major! That's all I want to know! What is this world in such a wreck? Such a bad! But it's fine! And I want to match! You're the stars! You're alive! You know you! You know you! Hey yo, Sydney, how the fuck are we doing? Hell yeah, Invasion Fest 2020, we all having a good time or what? That's fucking right. Unify what? Unify who? Woo! I'm just tricking. Oi, everybody from Melbourne, make some noise. Hey yo, everybody from Brisbane, make some noise. Hey, yo, everybody from Perth, they're standing over there. It's daybreak. They're the only people. Make some noise. All right, we're going to keep this shit rolling, but real quick, everybody in this room, make some noise for every band playing today or that has already played. Bands from all over the world, kids from all over the country. This is fucking insane, and it's a pleasure to be a part of it all. So shout out to everyone here, bands, Ash, Josh, everyone. This is dope. Water break! You know it! What's the answer? There is something different! No, froze in the sun! No, with the air of the sun! Here we go again! Another loss, another fuck! Here we go again! Another metaphor! I slip my toe in the nose that you left me! No hope, just until shit was watching you look. I slip my toe in the nose that you left me! I'll see you again if God doesn't let get up! Get up! Hey, yo, Cindy! Right back, so that you're right. Don't say again, but I say. It's Ocean Boy, I'll see you pray. To rid the pain of the other side. God, so I can't fucking hear you. Louder! Spin, brought up on the edge of the and lost. Came the scars from the back to the bone. Yes, I know you know. I am in face it fast. You are everything. I don't know what did I do? The next coming down the no, inside. No one last conversation. You knew this from the start. And what breath all out. You knew this from the start. Sing it. You knew this from the yes, he got too far. And one thing on power. Break your hour! I got this hole in my chest. It's the thing you want. Swear, I got this hole in my chest. It's the thing you want. Give it up. I got this hole in my chest. It's the thing you want. I got this hole in my chest. It's the thing you want. Swear, please. Back. Down! Do it for the red shore! Do it for invasion! Nail butter! Walk out with the governor! When the pressure doesn't got me! Now that I'm in trouble within myself! And it's got me wishing it up! I got nothing I can sleep, can he just me to win? I stay alive! I chill inside my bone! I'll be with today, oh, with somebody else! This works 6 months throat. There's more on my teeth. But the grit still tastes so bad. I sweat. This works 6 months throat. Sydney. empty shell. Reach to nothing, what I want to. I'm a nail water, motherfucking nail water. Yeah, I'm a nail fire. I'm a nail water, you're a fucking nail fire. I'm a nail fire. Burns on my mind. I cannot take any more burns. One more time. This was his welcome. I take no decay. This one of my guns, and it won't go away. This was his welcome. I take no decay. This one of my guns won't go away. Don't look at me. Don't back to me. I am a massive bird. Don't look at me! Don't fucking speak to me, no! I am No! Don't know that side! None of this fucking shit is all in my head! All in the mindset! Alpha Wolf! Motherfucker! Boom! No game! No war! Louder! No more apologies! Nothing! Broke! Now you fucking head! No game! No war! No more apologies! I can never be forever! Hey yo, I wanna see another fucking circle pit! Oh! I gotta knock out from the back and going, so you know that call me to rage, call me Mr. No, I'm just standing down from the back row! Boom! I don't know that you're inside now! But until they must go! I better rock, torn apart, alone in pieces. Yeah, that's what alone. Why I not tell me? Never fucking my back. I was my yeah, they might not already quit. Hey yo, Sydney, make some fucking noise! You it! When it comes to me, I'm ready to rock you! You are my answer! You're the fucking answer! A massive prepared, not just a break in the world! Yeah, you're a follow! Emotions, no loss, no feeling! When I'm awake, I'd rather be dreaming! Sleepless nights! Left, right, front, back! Make these people up here uncomfortable. Can you hear that? That's the sound of me. No good. No one. No good. Hey, thank you. This was fucking sick. Sydney, we got one more song left. Just wanted to say thank you for coming into the room and watching us. This is way better than we ever thought it would be. Thank you. You're just a pussy in a bar, honey pushing your luck. Have your head in the line. That's how you're taking the door. I know the false reflection, ill-intended imposter. No, yeah. Fuck you. Everything about. You militant cross. You're the nation. The conversation's going to win off. Not just me the contact. To feel my heart and talk to me. I never felt so numb. Only talking that I'll make it up to the top. Goddamn! I'm uncomfortably numb. Dropping apprehension I am. Not like them. Fucking like a dog, but Big Bad Wolf! I'll stop you! Shit! I'll stop you! You're just a pussy in a box, honey pushing your luck. Have your head in the line. That's how you're taking the door. And all the false reflection you intended. Down the fucking middle! You know what I want to see! Push it back! Push it back! I'm into it! I'm in buzzing up! I'm unsociable! But I see you looking this way! So come and break it up! Go! I don't want to forget. Burn down your bridges. Flood out the water and then fuck you. Hey, thank you so much for that. Hey, we'll be back with Polaris. Y'all have a good night.